This is S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Greetings, folks, and welcome to S4, where we talk about the serious issues involving paranormal and current events, coming to you live from the S4 headquarters in the heart of the Cascade Mountains of Washington State. It's our last one, not really, because we will have a roundtable for the last part of the marathon, which we'll get to in a second, next week. But tonight is technically the last of the 4 roundtables of the month. And so tonight with us for the roundtable, we have Barry Gount, Kentucky MUFON, the host of Into the Fire, Francie Miller, our S4 psych therapist, Joe Algier, our S4 geologist, and of course the master of pointy sticks, Rosella C. Rowe, author, blogger, and host of Haunted Ireland Tour, and Tony LaCroix, our astral specialist. And of course, Mark, I'm our S4 scientist, but he's here in studio, so I
we don't ever get mentioned. It's
no,
cool.
It's cool. Real quick,
you know.
So we do have to give a shout out to Michael Tarr from the Southern California UFO and Paranormal Research Organization. Go check them out on their Facebook group. We will be working with them. And I don't want to jump the gun, but we have some announcements closer to September.
We do?
Yeah. Remember the slideshow you're making?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not gonna release secrets about that, but
I'll have to kill you.
We would, right? We do have plans of working with another group out of California that looks for UFO evidence. Only evidence. Not stories. Evidence. So we will be working with them. So I had to give them a shout out. And they have a whole lot of crazy stuff going on in California. Not just fires, but UFO activity as well. So real quick, getting to our marathon, I'm going to go over the itinerary real quick. So the marathon starts Saturday the 29th Pacific time at 10 p.m. So what do we have coming? We have 10 to 1 a.m. We have Preston Dennett with all things alien and UFO. From 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. we have Arnold Hampton. So nobody knows Arnold Hampton. He is a buddy of mine that I went to college with years ago, before the Army, and he became a Washington State park ranger. In that time, he was a park ranger for about 20 years, so he knows all about the missing 411. He knows about, he's had Bigfoot encounters in our state parks. So he's going to come on and talk as a park ranger with paranormal and missing people in our state and national parks. And then from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., you get us talking about UFO cults. 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., we're talking paranormal mysteries of the Antarctic with the S4 team.
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is paranormal and the military with several soldiers coming on to tell their paranormal stories while they're in the military. And from 1 to 4, we have Dragons and Fae. From 4 to 7 p.m., we have Cryptids with Brian Bowden. And then we're going to wrap it up from 7 to 10, our normal time, with our last of the month roundtable. So it's going to be fun. So
I got to throw out a shout out quick to Jerry. He's on our chat room on the website.
Oh, awesome.
He says, tell Rosello, he says hi.
Okay. Excellent. Hey, Jerry. And real
Jerry.
quick, Cole needs to talk about the art contest. Have we had any people submit art?
No, but I'm expecting some soon. The thing is, when it comes to artwork contests, it takes time to actually make them. So we here at S4 know that sometimes when dealing with the paranormal, what we experience cannot be properly put into words. So we are asking you, the public, to share with us your best paranormal artwork. Between August 1st and September 30th, we will be accepting your 2D art, which we will then be featuring on Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage during the month of October. The hosts of S4 will then pick one to win an S4 swag bag valued at $75. All 2D mediums are accepted, must be 18 to enter, all artwork must be PG. No nudity, please. Every entry should be submitted to s4radiowinner@gmail.com, s4radiowinner@gmail.com. Also, if you don't want your name publicly mentioned, that's not a problem. We can do that, and we can keep you anonymous. So if you're worried about that, please don't, and still send it in to s4radiowinner@gmail.com.
Excellent. And okay, so I have to giggle every time I hear you talk about nudity. Seriously, most fairy pictures. Come on, most fairy pictures you see from artists, they are depicted nude. So there's a real easy fix for that. Have them face sideways or have a leaf over their.
The problem is to feature them on Twitter or on Facebook. I mean, we can't have them.
And I get that, but fairies are always nude. They are.
Bigfoot's always nude.
What? So is Bigfoot.
Bigfoot is always nude.
Right?
Not true. Sometimes he wears a hat.
I've
seen this.
According to that one chick out in Tennessee, sometimes he wears a plaid flannel shirt.
Oh, well, that's Daryl.
I heard that story.
That's Daryl. Bigfoot's Daryl. We all know that. Oh,
and his other brother.
So, Joe, what's your first question for the night?
Well, you mentioned the fires in California, and I'm right in the middle of it here, and there've been 12,000 lightning strikes in one day, and they started over 600 fires. There's currently 24 major fires burning due to the lightning strikes. As of this morning, 1.1 million acres have burned since last Sunday. I'm wondering, do you think it's possible that someone out there has a weather machine and is causing these lightning strikes and fires to punish America, or could it be aliens?
I think it would be weather manipulation.
I don't. I think it's a minute possibility, but in my opinion, it is purely scientific. With the first lightning strike was caused by a cold front meeting a hot front, a warm front, really, and then we had that first good real lightning storm across the entire West Coast.
We did.
And then after that, any fire that started is automatically putting hot ash clouds into the air. You're going to get more lightning strikes out of that with the friction being caused.
With that, I do think our weather patterns every year get more and more drastic. I mean, when we moved to concrete, for example, in 2012, there was no snow. Well, maybe a flurry here and there during the winter. For the first 3 or 4 years, we were like, "Where's the mountains? Where's the snow at?" Oh yeah, be careful what you wish for, because we've had a foot to 2 feet the last 2-3 years. So I mean, I do think the weather patterns are changing. I don't know if it's weather manipulation or HAARP. I don't, because if you look at HAARP, I think more of the hurricanes in Florida, but those are natural occurrences as well. So I don't know.
The only thing that got me wondering about it is I sat and watched these, and I've seen lightning strikes all my life here in California, and like out in Colorado and up in Washington when I lived up there. I've never seen lightning like this. This is like something out of a movie. These were huge bolts. Yeah, just coming straight down and just hitting. There was never been anything like this that I've ever seen.
One picture, the width of it, God, it was so wide. It was like this big bolt it looked like it was huge, really wide.
Yeah.
Usually they're little zigzaggy things,
Yeah, exactly. They were big, thick, and they come straight down.
Dark
Usually
magician.
they crawl along the clouds, and maybe one will zigzag down around somewhere and hit the ground. But these were like, Maybe Thor was angry or something.
That's what I was thinking.
Stuff was being fired from the sky.
It's Thor.
He's Thor about something.
Yeah, Thor's pissed off at the humans. That's what it is. No, actually, it wouldn't be Thor. It'd be Zeus. Zeus is lightning god.
Odin.
Okay, well, isn't it kind of strange that it doesn't lightning come from the ground? And then
supposedly.
Yeah.
The electrons start at the ground, and they're attracted by the electrons up in the clouds, and
they meet in the middle.
And there's been so many weird things going underground. Has anybody really noticed that throughout the whole country? I mean, golly, up in Detroit, they had an earthquake. We had the one in North Carolina. We've had some really strange things, and after what. I was on an investigation last night. We can talk about that later. But it was a strange creature investigation, and man, it just left me kind of like numb. But I think there's things coming out of the ground that may be ancient and just causing a lot of things, because the ground has got some kind of weird energy coming up through it. So it may be to deal with that. I don't know. The HARP and everything else. Yeah, they can do a lot of stuff, and we're going to have the first time ever. We're going to have 2 possible hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico, which no one's ever seen before, so we don't even know what that's going to do. And we've had 17 named storms this year, which is incredible. Yeah. And they're talking about probably going through the whole ball of wax. I mean, all the numbers and all the names, and they'll have to start over again. And that is one heck of a welcome 2020. Thank you very much. Can't wait to 2021 to see what it's all about.
2021 was the year that Mad Max was set in.
I got yelled at for saying that last week.
I got to tell you guys something. I have never actually watched Mad Max till last week.
I've never seen
the original.
It.
I'm looking forward to it.
So, but I did see Mad Max Fury Road.
Right.
I expected something totally different with watching Fury Road from Mad Max.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's the newest one?
Yeah.
Well, there's like 2 movies between there.
Like they call it post-apocalyptic, though.
You gotta see Mad Max Thunderdome with Tina
Turner.
Okay,
Tina
but
Turner,
the original Mad Max is called it's considered a post-apocalyptic time.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like now. Like
no, you know what?
Yeah,
so we had to laugh because in Iraq our vehicles look like that. And I shit you not, our vehicles look like that because we didn't have up armor.
From Fury Road or from the original?
From the original. You remember that, don't you, Tony?
Yep.
We actually had
armor, but I've seen ones without armor on them.
Because when we got to Iraq in 2004, we didn't have any up armor. There was no up armor. We had regular Humvees. And
big then either.
Huh? Say
the
again?
IEDs weren't that big in 2004 either.
This is true.
They didn't have IEDs.
No, they had them, but they're using soda cans and dead animals and things like that. They got bigger. They started putting IEDs in vehicles alongside the road, and you're talking megatons of explosive. So no, we got there. We just had regular Humvees. We actually had to weld fence posts to the brush guards. We had because they're running piano wire across the highway to cut the gunners' heads off. So I mean, by the time it was done, we had like steel welded to this. Oh my God, we had steel welded to the sides of 5 tons, blocking the window with other than a little slot for your weapon. It looked like Road Warrior when it was done.
I couldn't drive in Iraq, I don't think.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, but okay, if I see a dead animal on the road,
they were all over.
I'm gonna try and hit it. Like I'm gonna go for it.
No,
yeah, that's part of the fun for me.
So, I in answer to the question, Joe, I'm really not. I'm not sure. Is it a flotilla of aliens that are crashing into each other and causing lightning? Is it natural occurrences? I don't know. I look at and I chalk it up as it's Jumanji 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the fact that it's happening, so it's causing these fires. It seems like there's been an uptick. It wasn't like that before, and now all of a sudden you can almost count on it every year.
Yeah, but that's also you're looking at weather patterns there. You're only thinking of weather patterns from the last 50, 60 years. You got to start looking back farther than that then. And that's where it involves scientists who are actually looking at petrified trees and seeing how long ago they burnt and how many times they burnt, that type of thing. And once you start looking at that, the weather pattern actually matches up. You go far enough back, it's like saying that our weather gets so weird is getting weird now. No, it's not. It's just a longer cycle.
Now, here's my thing, too, because you talk about climate change, and I really don't blame humans for that because, okay, so we have a lot of pollution. We do have a lot of smog. We have a lot of garbage that gets dumped in the oceans, but that's in the last 100 years. The Earth is pretty resilient. I don't see the humans destroying the planet in 100 or less years.
It does seem, though, that once the rainforests down South America started getting destroyed wholesale with slash and burn agriculture, that the entire planet's weather pattern started to change.
And that
was an amazing heat sink down there.
The North Pole is melting.
That's a good possibility.
I mean, once they denuded that many billions of acres or millions of acres of forest.
Right.
But with the quarantine, it's like Venice cleared up and the dolphins came back. I mean, that says something. The dolphins wouldn't even go in there because of all the pollution from the boats.
Where was that?
That was in Venice, in Italy. And I've been to Venice.
Okay.
I've never seen any dolphins at all. I'm like, dolphins going in there, that's just unheard of. But they say because it was always the boat pollution, just the pollution in general, they would not go in. And when during quarantine they came back, they haven't seen dolphins in 100 years, they said.
Yeah, plus they quit pumping their sewage directly into the canal systems.
Guys, that's not true.
What?
They didn't come back. That's a fake news story.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard that one.
Yeah, like you go to Snopes, you go to everyone. That has not happened. Even the city of Venice actually said no.
Okay.
Really?
Oh, they did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people circulated to say how it's environmentalists circulate that kind of thing to enhance their media. Yeah, enhance their cause without truth. Is what I would say. It sucks, but
well, the North Pole is still melting. I mean, they have evidence of that.
Yeah, but that one I have a problem with too because they show that polar bear that looks like it hasn't been fed in 6 months.
It was an old bear.
Yeah.
No. Easy on the old bear comments.
I think I classify as one of those.
Okay, yeah, so no, the dolphins are still smart. They haven't gone back.
Oh yeah.
They're probably in the middle of the ocean where it's a lot cleaner.
I'm waiting to go for them to fly up into space.
Right? Yeah. I think that's
that happens. I'm grabbing my towel,
singing the song, and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah. Okay. So the initial article that claimed it showed 2 different canals. So yeah. Thank you for Snopes. Let's see. So Michael Tarr says, from downtown LA, we could see Long Beach Harbor from my roof, which we couldn't see in past years due to the haze. So, yeah, I have heard stories and seen reports that some of the pollution has gone down with COVID.
But it took months for it to go down.
Did. Absolutely.
And it'll take 2 weeks for it to go back as soon as everyone's allowed outside again.
Yep. And I fully agree.
Like, that haze, when it comes to smog, it
doesn't take much. All the cars go back to work, and there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Rosilla, what's your first question tonight?
Well, I was just wondering if other people are having weird experiences with, I guess, what's going on in the universe but me. Because, I mean, I'm a medium, and I do readings basically from home via phone. I also do them in person, that kind of thing, and in other places. Like, some people book me for parties, stuff like that. Last week was really crazy for me because I just felt like heaven, kind of like, because I usually work with like heaven and the angels and all that kind of stuff to give people messages and stuff, and it was really hard for me to try to like get in. It felt like for me to get messages and information for probably like 7 days, and it was just strange. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had. Like heaven had shut its door, and it was like, well, we'll give you some little bits, but we're not going to give you everything. Like, all the grandparents were coming through. They were really, really worried about all their relatives, and right. I just kind of constantly got that feeling that even in heaven, they kind of like, in the angels, the spirits, just realm, they did not even know what to tell like us humans, basically, because they did not know what was going on. Like, and it's all COVID related. I really do believe that, because this is such a strange time. So I was wondering if anybody else is getting really strange energies, feelings, and just things like that, because my week was weird. And yesterday, everything seemed to just open, and everything was kind of back to normal. It was just a little blip of time that it seemed to be very suppressing. I wasn't getting very much information at all.
Well, maybe heaven's set up with all the anger.
I am waking up exhausted. And the last couple of nights, I have realized that I am doing, like, counseling on an etheric level at night. Yeah. And because there's so many people, you know, they're passing, it's tumultuous, there's so many people dying.
Tons of people are just dying at once, and I deal with a lot of people who are nurses or hospice caregivers, and I mean they're calling me, and their energy is just sucked dry, and it scares me because, you know, that's like your defense is your energy, and they get your energy down, then you could also get it. So it's really so scary. I'm trying to keep all these people's energy basically like cleansed and good, and I do like energy cleansings and stuff like that over the phone, and meditation, and just trying to keep them all really healthy, so they, you know, unfortunately just like, they just don't get it. I mean, it's insane. But I felt like heaven had this window that would open and shut. It's like sometimes you would get stuff and it would be normal, and then other times you would tune in, it would be like, nope, you're not getting anything today, not this time. It's like, what?
This is what I feel like. I feel like we're in a liminal zone. Like it's not here nor there. It's not up nor down. It's like we're like in this no man's land right now.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows the outcome.
And so like people are spending so much energy. Just, you know, surviving. I mean, look at Joe in California. He's like packed up, ready to go.
Yep. Joe's always packed up, ready to go.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. That's insane.
Here's the thing.
It takes a lot out of you.
I want to address this though on a twofold level, because take the spirits aside, take the medium aside. The normal, mundane human is so stressed out, angry, insecure because they have no clue what the future is going to hold. We've lost 700 plus businesses in Washington State alone that will not be opening up. So you have unemployment from that. You have a shitty economy that's going to get worse. And is COVID real or is it not? Is really irrelevant. What's relevant is the condition that we're all living in today, regardless. And there's people dying. So you take that without throwing in being a medium, dealing with spirits. That's enough. Then, on top of it, as a medium, you will get inundated with the spirits, with the energies. It's a whole chaotic energy field on this planet, not just in our country. But you look at the state of all the other nations.
Eric, you studied crisis management stuff?
Too much.
What do you... from that perspective, what can you say?
For what people can do for crisis management?
Yeah. Just about what we're talking about.
Okay,
the effects on people.
So like I just said, the suicide rate, I can guarantee, has gone up. From people being stuck at home. From the insecurity, because now they've lost their job, they have no income coming in. They're probably going to lose their house because, their mortgage hasn't been paid. And the only thing keeping them in their house is certain governors, not even the federal government, but certain governors that put regulations in place to keep them from being evicted. But once that raises, guess what? How many slumlords or banks are going to come in and issue an eviction notice? A lot.
Yeah.
So, suicide's high. What do? Look at the resources you've got around you that can help. There's lots of organizations that have stepped up and said, okay, here's what we can do to help you with your mortgage. Here's what we can do for unemployment. Here's what, look at the resources you've got, why you've got them. 2, find something that helps you relax. Whether it's music. Everyone's got something that helps them relax. For me, it is music. For me, it's keeping busy. There's no end of not being busy with this. And communicate. Communicate with your family. Domestic violence has escalated. Murder has escalated. Yeah, everything is at an all-time high.
Not as far as they know.
Who?
Everybody.
Oh, everybody? Yeah, no.
Not as much as they think.
I'm sorry, my news comes to Homeland Security and other agencies. I don't look at CNN or Fox or MSNBC or any of them.
None of them have caught me yet. So.
No, I know. But domestic violence and all the worst of it's escalated. And like he says, meditate, practice self-care, communicate, connect with other people. There's Facebook groups out there now that actually have merged from all this to help people communicate, to find someone of like mind.
Yeah, and
that's a big thing.
Check on the people around you.
Check on your neighbors.
Yeah, because we actually just had an incident where someone we knew, apparently he's been dead for over a year. They just found him last week.
That'll be me
that's sad.
someday.
So,
hospital?
Huh?
So was he in a VA hospital?
No, he wouldn't still be found if he was in a VA hospital.
No, he moved and he got new neighbors.
All right.
He moved and he got new neighbors, and he didn't have Facebook. He didn't have those kind of things, and just all of his bills were auto pay, so no one knew.
Oh hell, yeah, okay.
Like that woman that died in Britain, and nobody noticed her missing for 10 years or something like that.
Michael Tarr says binge watch The Walking Dead. That's a good one too. It's like Anthony, our 8-year-old, was binge watching Z Nation. I think it was E-Nation.
Oh, that was a weird
E-Nation. It might sound weird, but watching horror movies will take your mind off the chaos around you a little bit too.
Also, if you feel lonely, you won't anymore.
Right? Absolutely.
So on that original question about not being able to, the psychics not being able to connect like they usually can, maybe it's, like Eric said, everybody is stressed. Everybody is, has no idea what the future is going to be. I mean, it's chaos across the board for everybody. And maybe there's more people than usual trying to contact a higher power up there.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, on the internet, maybe the bandwidth is just getting crammed full of messages. And, the messages aren't getting through because there's so many of them.
Your message is very important to us. Please stay on the line. And
proof that 5G is not working. 5G sucks.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I wonder what they use for hold music.
The Sound of Music.
Right. No, I'm thinking Beetlejuice, but
I was thinking like the.
You can't always get what you want by the Stones.
Climb every mountain.
Here's the thing, too. So Spirit usually tells you what you need to know when you're a medium. Maybe some things you aren't supposed to know because we ain't seen the end of what we're going to deal with yet. Now, I'm not trying to be a downer here.
Right.
But
no, I think that's right.
To prevent mass panic, maybe we're not supposed to know about the asteroid that's coming in December. Or, who knows?
I thought that was January.
I've stopped even trying to predict anything anymore. It's like, this year's done. Hopefully 2021 is better, but I don't expect anything because then I won't be disappointed.
Right. I think that they just don't know, and so they're shutting everything down. Now, yesterday and today I had them, and I was doing really fine, and everything was back to normal. But it was 7 straight days of really awkward silence, very odd feeling I've never gotten all my life from doing this. And I'm like, whoa, this is not good.
One of my things that I think personally is that, one, that there's a restart, a soft restart, which is to try to change the energy and slow things down a little bit, because people's energy was so wacky all over the place just because of the stuff that Eric was mentioning and all the things that were happening because of COVID and everything. And I think that they put a restart in, and it's just kind of to ease it and let it calm down a little bit. We've got to all raise our frequencies, and the best way to do that is to have everybody chill for a little bit, and they're gonna keep things away from some people until it's the time that it needs to go. Plus, you always know it's the middle of August and Evan's on vacation for one solid week, so 7 days. There you go.
Yeah, it was definitely 7 days. Yeah. It was funny.
but I'll tell you the same thing. I have had a terrible week. The energy has been really weird and off. It's made everybody just incredibly tired. You've had all kinds of... you just want to... You just can't do it. And then also, there are some weird things going on. Other than the energies and everything else, this is a strange thing. I was on a case last night, and let me tell you something. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it before. I mean, we're dealing with either an interdimensional being, reptilian type style, that is a glimmer and is walking on roofs, and there's maybe 2 to 3 of them, and they're coming up out of these cave systems. And we were right.
Did you say glimmer?
Yeah, they're kind of a glimmer.
What is that? Is that a entity, or is that just a description? That
is a description of an entity.
So
kind of looks like the Predator. I mean, if you saw the movie The Predator,
okay,
right?
Like the heat wave.
Right, exactly. They have
Okay.
That's a shield they use.
We were inside his house. He was a tin roof. You could hear the footsteps on top of the roof, and we had one investigator inside the house. We had two of us outside with powerful flashlights looking up there, and you couldn't see anything. But boy, let me tell you something. It was just darn eerie, the feeling and the energy that you had.
You didn't shoot him?
I couldn't see him to shoot him. Wouldn't be.
Oh, they do bleed.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, we did see some weird light anomalies. We saw some
super soaker full of paint.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think you need.
Do the old Johnny Quest thing, drop
bleach.
the bags.
Bleach.
And we were even going to go back to putting the powder or stuff up, but it was last night. It was very humid, and it was like going up the Silent Hill or something. And the fog, and it was right by up by the dam there, and golly, it was just pure spooky. It was a great night to be out doing an investigation because it was like pea soup.
On its way.
Was this Kentucky?
It was in Kentucky, yeah. It was right at Mammoth Cave. I was standing on, took a GPS rating, and I was at 37th parallel, 17 minutes, 5 seconds, and somewhere else on the latitude. I won't give you that one, but on the longitude. But yeah, we were definitely on the 37th parallel right there at it. So.
Huh. So
and there was a cave. There was a cave probably down. It was at least 100-foot sheer drop down to this cave opening, and you could see it. And it's like I said, it's was right there in Mammoth. So, and the cabins around it and everything else. And you know another weird thing? It sounded like there was somebody doing a. I know we had a dark moon and everything else, but it sounded like there was somebody doing a ritual outside. They played some music that was just, it was just crazy, and they were chanting and doing all that stuff, and it was just made for the whole night. So.
Well, I'll tell you what. Last week we were sitting here at the studio at Cole's house, watching the stars, and we saw some weird shit in the sky.
Oh yeah.
You know, we know what satellites look like. We know what meteors look like. This one went quick. It stopped. It slowed down. It did a U, which satellites don't do a U. Not usually.
Yeah.
And it slowed down. It sped up for a minute, and it stopped straight above us. Now, we need a telescope. So we could have seen it a little better, but it stayed there. It didn't move anymore.
That and all the other blinkers that were out that night.
Oh yeah,
I almost wonder if that wasn't some kind of drill with Space Force.
Strobe flashers.
Yeah.
Like the one that came across, stopped, and U-turn might have been a carrier craft, and the blinkers were targets.
And they were watching us.
Well,
that's what it was. They were
flashed back. Well, I signaled
That's
with
what
that
we were
headlamp.
just in Michigan, and I saw something like that. That was actually one of my questions of what I saw. Do you guys mind if I asked you?
What's up?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay, so we were on vacation in Lake Michigan. Basically, like we were at North Point. I think it was Northport, Michigan. And it was just us on this beach on the lake, Lake Michigan, just like, huge, and nothing. There was no land out there or anything. And this guy who was sitting next to us, he just was another guest at this resort we were at. And I was roasting the marshmallows with the kids, and he said, "Hey, does anybody else see that? Just huge bright light." Well, my husband looked, and I was still helping the kids, so I couldn't look. And my husband reacted, and he's like, "Oh my God, what is that?" So then I'm like, okay, now I have to look. And in the sky, like right in literally like the middle of the viewpoint, the middle of that lake where we were, right in the middle over the water was this, it was kind of like how I would call like a strobe, or like shooting out like this like sonar kind of almost image, where it kind of does this, like your windshield wiper kind of goes back and forth. It's like that. and it just shot out this bright light, like this flash of this bright light. It was incredibly quick, but it was blinding, and it lit up like the whole lake, and it did it like 3 times in like within 5 seconds apart, and then it stopped, and it would be like 10 minutes, and then it would go. It was moving like left. It was moving left across the sky, and then it would be like, I don't know. It was kind of like half of the position of what it was away, and it would do it again, and then stop, and then it would move again, do it again, and then it just disappeared. I never saw it again, and that was the only night that we saw it. When was this? This was like 2 Saturdays ago. No, sorry, 2 Sundays ago. We were there Sunday night. So it was very odd.
So there's no doubt that UFOs this year have been, and I want to address this to Barry. On your reporting, how does 2020 compare to other years on a reporting side?
I think that 2020 has been an interesting year. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of people are no longer, they just don't seem to want to report their sightings anymore. So we have to have a campaign to report more sightings. From what I hear and from what I see, they're going away from the others and reporting more to the individual investigators, but I have seen a tremendous increase in some very crazy stuff. I got a call Saturday that was just kind of unbelievable a story. We're seeing more abduction type phenomena. We're also seeing the strange strobing lights and those things, but that can be taken with. We're also seeing a lot of earthquakes, and anytime before pre-earthquakes, there's been a lot of things that are called, people see flashes in the sky. They see quick flashes that can last 2 or 3 times, and they're earthquake flashes. But there also is the UFOs flash, which we call flashers, and it seems like a lot of the people who have had an experience with UFOs before, when you see a flasher, it allows them to, you see it flash, and then you automatically know where it's going to be in the sky the next time it flashes.
Right.
Which is kind of odd, but they follow it. It's got every which way to go, but somebody who has actually had a sighting, and it's like they're communicating to you to say, yes, we're still here, look at me,
right.
Kind of like thing. So,
and with that,
I think it's been stronger.
With that, I do want to clarify, because I'm not a fan of MUFON, you know that, but yeah. I see you different, because you might be a MUFON director, but you handle things the way you want to handle them, and you made that clear to MUFON when you took the job. So yeah. I think most of your reports are coming to you as Barry Gount, not MUFON.
Yes. Yeah, right. Correct. They do, and a lot of them do. And I think that, and I thank people for that. And we're doing the new thing. One of the things that we've started out now is there's a wonderful group we're working with. It's called UFO Hunters of America Incorporated. And I just took a board position with them, also state director of Kentucky, and also the co-chair of heading up all the investigations for them. And we're doing something with that as far as going towards a totally new way of looking at it. We believe that, as I think you do too, Eric, is that that's all intertwined. And
absolutely.
So we're gonna carry paranormal investigations. We're gonna do strange creatures. We're gonna do UFOs, and we're also gonna talk about raising consciousness. We've got some really good groups doing it. We're in the process of putting it together right now, and I'll give a quick plug. If you're looking for it, go to UFOAmericaInternational.com, and you can look at that, see a little bit about us. And also membership if you want to become a member, I think it's $25 right now. If you want to become a member for the UFO Hunters of America, and it seems like it's a good group. So I think we'll have a good time. We've got some great people involved in it, and I'm looking forward to it developing into something big.
All right, good deal. We'll check it out.
Has people noticed more of an activity, like an uptake in activity because of COVID?
Yeah, well, like I said, I have picked up quite a lot, and people are noticing it. I see a lot of people communicating to me about investigations. On the other side, which Eric mentioned on the MUFON side, not so much. We had 2 cases come in last week, and I probably had 6 cases come in personally that didn't want to be associated or put towards that level, so towards the other level. And they're very strange and they're odd. I mean, just fantastic stuff.
But here's what you got to look at when you're looking at sightings. And, I did a poll in another group about how many people actually report the sightings they've had. And I would say 20% actually reported. 80% of your sightings actually go unreported. Personally, I've had 5 sightings, true. And I've never reported any of them.
I was just going to say, every weekend we see something.
But the thing is, running Forest Moon Paranormal, we took our own reports. I didn't go to New Fork or MUFON or any other agency because we did our own reporting.
Yes, exactly.
But the other thing you have to look at, you can't really say it's... I don't know if it's an increase so much as it is with COVID. More and more people are staying home. More and more people are going outside just to get some fresh air, staying home. So they're looking at the sky.
Hey, you're right, Eric, and I'm going to tell you right now, before COVID, the people that reported most of the UFO sightings, it was really funny because you'd read it and you go, I went outside to smoke a cigarette. Because people weren't smoking in their house, so they go outside and they're sitting there looking at the sky, everything else while they're smoking a cigarette. And now with COVID, same thing. What happens is there's people that are not going anywhere. They're staying at home and they're sitting outside, relaxing and enjoying the sky, and it's really relaxing. So they're looking up more. Every week. What do you say at the end of the show, brother?
Keep your eyes to the sky.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So we're coming close, and we're about 10 minutes from the top of the hour. Cole, what's your question?
Okay. Now, just try and follow with me here.
Oh, God, you got a story to go with it?
I want to talk about an alien race.
Okay.
Now, let's say on an alternate universe, the Transformers are real. Do they have car insurance or life insurance? What?
Better get Geico.
You just sat there and thought that up?
Yeah!
Oh, God.
I like it.
Wow.
Since they're...
If I'm an alien, I don't need insurance.
No, look at the damage them things take.
One of our Canadian insurance companies actually came out with a Transformers-based ad.
Oh.
And which one do they get?
Well, then their car is their life. So, yeah, I had to agree with Izzy with life insurance.
Life insurance.
Yes.
Because they are actually
life insurance, because if they're in an alternate universe, on their planet, they're Transformers, but they don't transform into cars until they come here where there are cars. So on their planet, they would just have life insurance.
But if they're here,
they'd have life insurance with comprehensive and collision. Possibly a free and possibly windshield replacement.
They would definitely need windshield replacement.
I don't trust my toaster.
No, you just throw it out the window.
Well, is it the one that keeps asking you if you'd like some toast?
I don't know if the toaster starts talking to me or chasing me, I'm going to get the magnet out.
If you ever follow some of the ancient Native American stuff, Manitou and everything else, believe that there's a spirit within everything. Yeah. Even after you have taken a piece of wood, made it into a table, the wood is still there and it's still something. Same thing when you make a device, a toaster or anything else, it still has its own spirit. And so that puts an interesting edge on it.
All right. Okay, well, that was a quick question.
I know.
Marco, what's your first question? And if we carry on to the second hour, then so be it.
Oh, let me think about it. I got.
Okay, Barry.
Yes, a question. All right,
yeah,
let's go
with
the. I've got one here. Let me just pull it up here. I'm looking through my notes. What are some of the methods of psychic protection that everyone uses?
For psychic protection?
For psychic protection, when you're out on a case and everything else, and you're looking for, you're wanting to protect yourself, and then also on psychic protection, because actually, we do use psychics, and I know that Rosella and all the ones out there that are using that have that ability. So what are the methods that we can all use? Because we all use some kind of sort of a psychic method, do we not?
Well, with FMP, protection was mandatory. And that was whether you were behind the computer screen monitoring the case, or if you're astral, or even if you're boots on ground, it was all the same. And we taught shielding and grounding and shielding, which grounding is pushing your energy into the earth and pulling Earth's energy back into you. And then shielding, which keeps you both physically, for the most part, and psychically protected from being attached to, from being attacked. It's not a fail-safe, but it is fairly accurate, and I think Tony could attest to that. As far as stones, we used black tourmaline for the most part, other than coal. But coal with Native American energy, the black tourmaline just wasn't effective.
No, it kept disappearing. I literally couldn't keep it in my pocket.
Right. It jumped out.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Seriously, I would walk from my house to the backyard, and by the time I got to my garage, it wasn't in my pocket anymore.
Like, no! Gone.
So what did they suggest you use for psychic for that protection?
I keep tiger's eye on me.
Yeah. You have to find the stone. Okay. So for the most part, black tourmaline is probably one of the stronger negative repelling stones.
Barry, isn't that what they gave us in Attica?
Yes. Yeah, that is exactly what they gave us in Attica. They gave us.
I have that on me all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Most black stones are protective.
Right.
Mine is snowflake
in
obsidian.
Different ways. Yeah. Apache's tears are really powerful, and they're teeny little things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So is desert rose.
I've also heard my one friend. Kristen, Barry knows her. She told me to get what was it? It was kosher salt. Get the chunks of it, the kosher salt, and then put it into
stuff.
Yeah, and put it into a water bottle, and then shake it up, and then you can carry it with you, and you're supposed to basically pour it over your feet before you leave, and then say a prayer of protection before you get in your car and leave.
Huh.
That's what she said.
Yeah,
I usually say a prayer before and after. Yeah, I mean, I'll say please God, and spirits, let me be safe, let me be okay during this investigation, basically, and then not have anything come home with me. Nothing's allowed to come home with me. Nothing is going to come with me that's negative. Just stay here. You will stay here. I'm ordering you to stay here. And I kind of do those kind of things before and after. And then I go.
So for the folks, because being pagan, these are the things that work well for pagans, and some religious folks would say, "Oh, those are no, I can't use stones or herbs and so for those folks, and I get it. Use your cross, use your whatever emblem for your religion works the best. You go with that. But bear in mind,
it's truly your intention that's the power.
Absolutely,
behind whatever.
That's the power of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just wearing your cross is not going to protect you, unless you believe that cross is going to protect you.
Well, I have a 100-year-old rosary that I carry on those kind of things. I figure between me and the previous owner,
right,
enough prayer energy has been cycled through that thing that it's been pretty good proof against everything.
Mm-hmm. So I do all my work at home. Like, when I was working with the team, I did things from home. I do energy work from home. And so I have my house and my property crystal gridded. Like, I have intentionally charged crystals. I have them buried in a pattern, like a geometric pattern in my yard, and they're big-ass crystals.
That's what Kristen said to do, too. Yeah.
Yes.
And in the middle of my house, pretty much in the middle, not exactly, but is where I keep all my other crystals that I work with on a daily basis. I carry shit in my pockets, And my master crystal that speaks to all my buried ones in the yard is in my house. And so if I have a specific need, for instance, I had a weird run-in with kind of a jacked neighbor recently, and I didn't feel like I felt attacked. I mean, it was just not a comfortable situation, and I felt vulnerable and icky about it. And so I went to my master crystal and bumped up the energy.
So before we go to break, before we go to break, I got to yell real quick, Tony. No, S4 does not condone the use of taking entities home with you. No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs friends.
But it followed me home. Can I keep it? I'll take care of it.
Nor do we go in and poke entities with sticks.
Come on.
Thou shalt not poke the paranormal with a stick. Even if
we've had cases where the actual team went and poked an entity in a cage, and that didn't go too well. And another team member had a banshee scream in her face, and that didn't go too well either. But anyway.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to visit the website, www.s-4radio.com. Make sure you visit our store. Go check out the apron. It's the only thing on there that counts.
Only because Cody's on the apron, and we've always sold
I got the apron.
And it's cool, right?
It is awesome.
Anyway, stay tuned for second hour. Enjoy the music. We will be right back.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Drive.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.
And welcome back to S4 for hour number 2 of Roundtable.
To everyone listening, sorry we just had a minor break in communication there.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta
no,
fix that.
Huh? Okay.
Controlling the live radio.
Alright, so getting back to paranormal protection now, what did you want to follow up with, Joe?
I just had a curious thing. I know both of you have heard some of my stories. I mean, there's everything from UFOs to Bigfoot to Hat Man to poltergeist in the house. A lot of places I've been, but I've never had anything malevolent ever happen to me. And I was wondering, listening to everybody talk about, I have this crystal, or I have burning sage, or I plant this in the ground. Is it possible that people like me have some type of natural protection that we don't even know about?
Some do.
Yeah.
Some are genetically born with shields.
So you could walk into a biker bar or drive into a biker bar on a Honda and be safe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you have.
Gary is not.
Markham's met you. I have not, but I've heard enough from Markham that you have this repelling fear, I think, towards people.
Markham's the big guy, and he comes up to about my shoulder. So
yeah.
Exactly.
He makes me look like a munchkin from. Yeah.
So I don't know too much about that, but I do believe that there are people that do have protection. We all have protection, as out this way, but sometimes you have to beef it up. The biggest part about protection and everything else is you also got to remember that you have to take time to recharge. And I'm probably one of the worst persons about that because I continually go and I get yelled at about it by a lot of people. But I'm always out to try to help people and do the things that are there. So you've got to take a little bit of time for yourself. You have to be able to recharge. So if you're recharging yourself and keeping that energy strong, then it's good. But we also use, and lately, at one point, I did not use any other protection than just me going in and what I had with me and my power and my thoughts, but nowadays I end up using it a lot more, and it's not because of a weakness or anything else. These energies are just attacking more and more. As you get involved more and more with the paranormal, and you do different types of the things of paranormal, these things do know you. They become, everything knows you. They're very aware that you're out there. And when you go into a case or anything else, they know you're coming. They know you're going to be there.
Well, see, that's the thing, Barry. It's like I worked at a resort up in Washington, right on the coast, and the place was kind of haunted. There was a lot of weird things happen there.
Yeah.
And I think I called them ghosts. I didn't know what they were. Spirits, who knows? But some of them would work with me. Yes. I'd be walking down a hall toward an elevator. I'd be 10 feet from the doors, and they would open.
Right.
They know you're coming.
One of those things where there's sensors and they know, or if it comes down, or no, they knew I was coming. They go, "Oh, Joe needs to use the elevator," and they'd hit the button for me.
Yeah.
And I'd always say thank you, and I'd talk to them just like they're regular people.
That's the key too, because if you respect them and you treat them with respect, and just like they're normal people, because in a way they are. They're nothing but energy and narrow energy of a soul or a person that was once living. Most of them are. I'll say that. But when if you're respectful to them, and some of them like you, and it's just like anything, just like normal people. You can be in a place where there's 50 ghosts. Maybe 30 of them like you and 15 of them don't like you because they remind you of somebody that they had in their life that they just despised.
Right.
I was sitting in my living room one time and a big stone fireplace, and there was this little ceramic frog sitting up on the mantle, and it just goes smack, and it goes flying across the room and lands on the ground and breaks. And I just looked and I said, I didn't like that frog either, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
And nothing really much has happened since that.
Right. It's something that they didn't care for and didn't want it there, and they were like going, nope, that's not the place for this.
Yeah, it didn't fit.
They didn't like frogs. Right. I had, back when I was a private, I had an E6 that I got along with great when I was stationed in Germany. He had a house that was haunted in, I believe it was in Oklahoma. And he had an agreement. He didn't move the furniture. He moved the furniture, they got pissed. So he made an arrangement with them. He said, okay, I will not move the furniture because that's the way the original house was set up, and that's the way they wanted it. Now, somebody went to break into the house, or somebody he didn't like came to the house, they were ran out. His house was quite protected. So he was stationed in Germany. The house was empty, but it really wasn't. But, no, not all spirits are bad. You got to understand, actual spirits were alive at one point in time. They still have the same personality until they pass over. And not all spirits need to be passed over.
You mean I'm going to be an asshole in the afterlife, too?
No. So that's the thing. Once they pass over to the other side, they can come back. They have the opportunity to come back. And that's most of your cases where somebody smells lilac or somebody smells cigarettes or cigars. That's the spirits coming back that are family that are checking up on the family. And then they'll go back. They usually don't stick around unless they need to protect you from something. But spirits that have not passed that are stuck here aren't always stuck here. They just don't want to pass.
Like that guy in
the
bar
at the So there's a spirit here in the hub. He's 22 years old, died in the 1900s, and he's having the time of his life. Why are we going to pass him over? He doesn't want to go, and he's not causing a problem. There's a spirit I talked to in Germany years ago that he was a World War II bomber pilot, and he crashed. And he explained he doesn't want to go. He has fun haunting the bakery. Like, okay, more power to you. Have fun.
There was a really cool movie back in the early 70s, late 60s. It starred William Shatner. It was called Soul Survivors. And it's not till the end of the movie. There was I can't remember if it was a B-29 or a B-17. Some big bomber had crashed in this desert. Mm-hmm. And this one guy, played by Shatner, bailed out before it crashed, but the rest of the guys stayed with the aircraft.
Plane.
And you didn't realize till the very end when they started digging up the bodies, and one by one these dudes started disappearing, that they were spirits.
Right.
That was a really good one.
Now, real quick, you brought up sage, Joe, and I want to talk about that for a second. Sage itself, by itself, doesn't do a damn thing. These teams that run around saying, "Oh, you need to sage your house," no.
That can piss stuff off.
All that's going to do is piss things off. You need to clear it before you sage it. All sage does is keeps it protected, essentially. But sage by itself won't. So the mix we used on the team was a mix of sage, rosemary.
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
There might have been some thyme. I've got the formula at the house.
Did you use lemon oil, lemongrass?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, that's the same thing we use, but we throw lemongrass on top of that. I mean, rosemary, sweetgrass.
Yeah,
for that Thai flavor.
We had our own recipe that we used, so we usually left it with the client.
Mugwort is like the best in the world. I mean, if you're going to use a sage to do anything, mugwort I like the best, and especially when you're dealing with the spirit entities, mugwort is always a great.
Right.
I talked to you guys about my friend, what he does, because you were talking about protection, right? And so my friend's a medium, And this is a man who I work with him really, really well. We're both mediums, and when we get together at this Victorian house that I'm writing a book about, because I call it a paranormal gem, because it's amazing. When you go into this house, things happen to you that don't happen to other people, that are mind-blowing and amazing, and people would pay thousands of dollars for. I mean, to have these experiences. So I'm very lucky. But my friend, he's really well, and I think he's self-trained, but he brings up this like white light of protection. That's what he calls it. And my friend Harry just texted me from the house. He's a main volunteer from the house. They're called the Ghost Guild, and I work with them. Mm-hmm. Going to the house, and this is where Barry has to come.
Yeah.
Because I keep saying it over and over.
So the white light you're talking about sounds very much like shielding to me, because it's
it is. It's like a shield.
It's no different. There's different methods of shielding. Some use a brick wall. Some use just basically a bubble. But it's something that has to be continually worked on. You just can't do a shield and then say, "Oh, it's good." Nope, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, right. Yeah, you got
well, I've always heard.
What?
But this is the amazing thing. Like, I'm going to read you the text that he sent because it just defines it better. But he said, this is from Harry. He says, "It was amazing the night that I became aware of him doing it. He was surrounding us with light. I had no idea he was doing this, but when I picked up on it, I closed my eyes and all I could see was white light." Now, they describe the white light as this blinding light, like as if you looked at a light bulb kind of too long, and it was just that all around you, like this cloud. Now, I got to learn from him how to do this because I've never done that. I bring crosses with me and the rock that Francis was talking about, and Barry, I know you have, and do my prayers and stuff. But I always feel like, kind of like what the other guy was saying about protection, like having natural protection. And I don't know if, Barry, you feel that way about me, but I kind of walk in and I feel like the angels are with me, so I never really needed to do very much. And maybe I'm naive. And I have experienced some stuff like at Bennett's, like Barry was going to come there and clear out the evil spirit that was there. Yeah. That was the first time I experienced anything really bad. And then when I went to Trans-Allegheny, then I did. But I have to start doing more to protect myself. But this house is really an amazing house. Like, you go in and there's really no evil spirits at all in this house. It's in Millersburg. It's in Amish country in Ohio, where I'm from, is Ohio. And people go into this house and, like, literally all the spirits that, like, all your past spirits, basically relatives, they line up to talk with you. I mean, we had to just like say, "Hey, you have to stop," because we weren't even talking barely to the residents of the house that we were trying to communicate with, that I'm trying to write the book about, for their stories, to try to write their messages. So it was really interesting. But like, we actually found out like about a murder that was in the family, long-time murder that never was solved. And just sitting there nonchalantly, this person came through and then said like he was murdered, and I was shocked because I never really believed my family. I thought it was just they're being dramatic. So things really happen in this house. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So very
energy portal might have a great energy portal there. And believe me, dear, I have
water that runs
that way.
Yeah, you really have to. Like, Barry, you'd be interested, and Francis actually too, maybe. There's a natural water spring that goes underneath the house.
Oh, that
in the
helps.
whole county, really.
Yeah,
like,
and if it's sitting on limestone water like that, it's going to have a massive thing, and it may have a good portal for them to be able to come in and out. Different spirits to come in and out. That's what they'll travel through. And be
I
able
also
to
heard
there's the ghost train.
Yeah.
I hear the ghost train.
I also heard, though, that if you use the white light for protection, that also shines out like a beacon to attract malevolent. It can attract malevolent.
It can. And you know, also like Barry said, the longer you're in this field, the more enemies you make. And you're absolutely right. Yeah. When it comes to, they know you're coming. I've had so many clients that tried to reach out, but the phone didn't work, or the internet didn't work, they couldn't contact us. They had to do it through email, or they had to do it through other ways. But they actually, oftentimes, if they know you're going to remove them, they know.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
You're on your way.
Definitely do. And they'll come through the phone line at you. Even if you're talking to them and you do get a call. I mean, I've started running recorders most of the time when I'm interviewing or doing anything, because they'll talk to you on it. Don't come to this house. You'll hear EVPs across the phone lines, and they're talking directly at you. And GPSs, when you set your GPS or anything else, man, I've been taken all over the place, and they affect things. And the place we were at last night, same thing. It was just ridiculous. Luckily, we knew where we were going, and because the GPS was just like going, nope, we ain't taking it that way. But, that white light is very important, but some spirits don't like it. I remember I was in a house that got a very good EVP, and the guy said, we don't like your white light. So when you...
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you do the white light, not everything is comfortable with bright white light.
Or they might get a migraine.
Fill it. Right, exactly.
I mean, really. You got to remember, they were alive at one point.
The room, when you fill the room with white light, it does definitely protect that area and the people around that area. It's just a wonderful thing. And light protection, anytime you're moving or using energy protections like that, it works tremendously.
Okay, real quick, I've got a question. Say again?
What's up, Eric?
So I got a question from Michael Tarr in the chat room. He says, I was told a person may not get any responses due to their persona, a strong persona, just as some people are put off by strong personalities in the living world. And I would agree with that completely.
Yeah, yes. I do too.
And
also, there's people that won't get anything at all. There's some people that want to see something so bad, or want something to happen so bad, that it works against them.
Yeah, I got a friend I investigate with. He always wants it so bad, and then I call him the ghost deterrent as a joke. I'm like, you just want it too bad, man. You gotta back off.
and so I do agree with is the white light shielding is a great place to begin, but that is a starting point.
Yes, exactly.
It is.
That's
and like Eric said, I keep doing it.
Right. That's something. Eventually, you won't. Eventually, you won't have the light. The light is only a starting point, but when you're working on shields, you have to do them continually. I've heard too many people say, "Oh, well, why did I get attacked?" Well, when's the last time you worked on your shields? Well, a month ago, I built my shields. They should be good, right? I'm like, no, you have to do it daily sometimes. I mean, it depends on how active you are.
Yeah.
If you're a medium,
that's the part about recharging. You got to recharge that stuff.
If you're medium or
but
gifted,
is it possible for someone like me who maybe has a natural shield that if I tried to build a shield, it would destroy the natural shield?
No, not at all. It only enhance. It'll only build up and enhance your natural shield. It'll never destroy.
How do you find out that, though? How do you find out if you have a natural shield for real or you do need something?
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a lot of weird situations and never had anything malevolent happen. And I've never done anything. No crystals, no sage, not sage, sorry, but anything like that.
It depends.
I'm very open to everything, and I've had a lot of experiences where I'll see things where other people don't.
Yeah, well, it's kind of unusual because if you're out doing it like certain people do, and sometimes we do 3 to 4 cases in a week, and if you're out all the time, it drains your energy. It pulls your energy. When you do spirit work or anything like that, it will pull your energy really, really bad. So you have to work.
Recharge.
Now, if you're going out, you have to recharge. Somehow you have to have some downtime to be able to bring that all back together. And if you go out every so often, and you're out there and you have an encounter. Maybe you're not going, and maybe you may go 10 times a year or whatever. No, you don't need to do it as often because most of the time you've got a time to recharge and rebuild between the times. You may wait a week, 2 weeks before, but when you're out all the time and you're working at it in a way that is continual, that's when you've got to really be able to take the time to add to your arsenal and take the time to recharge everything that you have. Because if you don't, then you'll get the kind of attacks. I think that I have some great power, but I've been attacked voraciously at certain times, and that's when you don't take care and do the things that you're doing that you should do. And
I want to add. I want to add too, though. So we're talking about working on yourself, but you don't just grab your tourmaline or your stones and keep them in your pocket. They do. Right, they do absorb negative energy, so you need to cleanse and recharge them as well. And the easiest way to do that is to put them in moonlight on a full moon. That's the best time to do it.
That's why you do my Herkimer diamond.
Yeah, I mean, your dark stones are great during moonlight, and your lighter stones you want to do during sunlight.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing that I do, I've got those salt lamps. Those.
Oh, salt lamps are great.
And I stick my crystals down in the hole where the candle would be.
Okay.
And leave them overnight.
Yeah.
Because I pocket carry, like I have tons of rocks and polished stones and all kinds of stuff. And I go in at the beginning of the day and I go, okay, who wants to go with me? I've got to go into town and I don't want to die from a virus.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick the stones just based on what gets my attention on the shelf and stick it in my pocket. And then at the end of the day, I stick it in the salt lamp to clean it.
Yeah, you got to get that. You got to get that ish off of them. I mean, they do absorb.
Yeah.
That's what they do. I mean, they are they protect, but they are also absorbing all that negative energy, just like Eric said. So, if you don't take care of those, you're just like carrying a darn piece of paper in your pocket.
Well, not to mention, if they're already, and I'm trying to think of the word that's used, but if they're already full of negativity and you ain't charging them, they're not going to do you anything. They're not going to offer you any protection when you walk into a haunted location. In fact, they can make you sick. They can actually make you sick because you'll start absorbing that negative energy.
Has anybody does anybody use a medicine bag?
I do.
Yes. Yeah, believe it or not, I have a medicine bag. We carry medicine. I've got more different things. It all depends on the occasion.
This might be TMI from a girl's perspective, but I stick it in my bra.
Well, that's more that's more personal.
It's right over your heart chakra,
right? Right.
Exactly.
And Dennis is asking, so can you just wear all your stones or on a belt or a sash? They can. You can, and some people actually put them in a bag. But if it's touching your skin, if it's touching your chakras, that's stronger. Medicine bags are fine. But again, you always need to keep your stones cleansed and charged.
Yes, very important.
And also, the watch pocket on your 5-pocket jeans.
Oh, it's the perfect place to carry one.
It is the perfect place.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Tony, what's your first question tonight? Tony.
Okay, so mine goes back to thought form. How has social media made thought forms work?
Belief is power. You get enough people believing something, it'll create it.
Absolutely.
So could our trending ideas be becoming energetically viable?
I would think so.
Possibly. Think of thought as energy.
That many people thinking of one subject at one time.
And I'll go back to the example I've used before when we were in Iraq, and we got online and we told all pagans around the world, and we picked a date and a time. We coordinated time zones, the whole 9 yards. And this was in Balad, Iraq, in 2004. And so all the pagans in the world all thought of peace at one point in time. And there was no gunshots. There was no mortars. There was no bombing. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing for 24 hours. And it went right back to it after 24 hours. Because it takes so much energy to do that on a constant basis, you could never do it all the time. But we proved that putting thought into practice, all unified at one point in time, does work. So
I was involved in an intent group that turned a hurricane.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Like it was,
and that works too.
Smack straight on, and I can't even remember which one or where it was going, but it was going to hit. And like it was one of those internet things where people across the globe all meditated at a specific time, and simultaneously the thing turned and didn't hit where it was supposed to.
Well, you know, the amazing thing about it is whether, you know, whether you're pagan, religion, whatever it may be, the consciousness of the whole thing is like raising the frequencies. That's the thing. The energy, it's hard to do, is keeping the frequency level high. So if you keep your frequencies up, then you have a longer time to be able to do it with. If your frequencies, if you're just doing it on a basic time, and we're all getting together, when one or more come together, you can move mountains.
Yep.
And that's what we do.
And
you know?
So how do you advise people to raise their frequency? This is my advice. Gratitude. Because gratitude is one of the highest frequency emotions that you can experience.
Exactly. Gratitude and lack of ego. Lose your ego.
Yeah.
And practice the unconditional love. If you are doing that and you're bringing up that level of things, then your frequency level comes up, you know, and tune in more to the earth, because if you're at 432, that's the hum of the earth.
My question. Mike, I have a question about 432 and cymatics.
Okay.
Can I, Eric, may I ask my question?
Sure, go ahead.
So, I've been reading about cymatics recently because part of my therapy background is systems theory, and a guy named Hans Jenny in the 70s, wrote about cymatics, and he did experiments and took photographs of the frequencies that he elicited, like the pictures of the frequencies. And for anybody that doesn't know what cymatics is, it's the visible manifestation of sound. So like if you have a stretched out piece of drum that would vibrate with a sound frequency, like you can make it vibrate, and you put sugar on top of that drum, and then you blast a frequency like a hum, like a certain level of sound at it, it will create a pattern on the freaking drum head.
That's exactly right.
With the substance that you've put on there. So it could be flour, it could be sugar. Like probably sugar would work better because it would be kind of like
salt works good too.
Yeah,
salt,
any granular, any fine granular.
Anything that's granular.
I think Nassim Harriman has done a lot of work with that.
Yeah. It's almost like sacred geometry, because that's what you're going to see. You're going to see shapes and images along that way. So
here's my question about that. There in the Roslyn Chapel in Scotland, which is an ancient chapel.
Yes.
In the stonework, there are carvings of cymatic, like patterns.
Yes.
And we like I think it was last week we were talking about crop circles. They could be cymatics.
Yes, they are. In a lot of ways, it's sacred geometry, if you will, and it all has meaning, and it all has a certain thing. You got to remember, Rosalind is made up from the Freemasons. That's the lore of Rosalind Chapel, and also the Da Vinci Code, and also the Rose Line, if you will, and
right, because we were talking about ley lines last time too.
Right, yeah, and you've got the Rosicrucians that are very big into that also. So there's a lot of different things out there that are secrets. But as you are raising the frequency, as you're dealing more with the consciousness, subconscious level, or consciousness itself, then all those things become available to you, and you'll understand them more as you raise everything up. We're not the angelic frequencies in the 900s, but as you move towards that way, it is, but also low frequencies. It can be used as a weapon. There are certain frequencies that will make you sick and bad.
I live next to a Navy base. I live next to a Navy base on a deep, deep lake. And they are doing testing with LEF, low electronic frequencies.
Yeah, and it's not healthy for humans.
No, it is not healthy at all, and it is. And it can really destroy you, and that's some of the things that in several cases back a long time ago, we had these cases where people were, some drones actually put out that kind of frequency. Here in Kentucky, at one time, we had 17 different drone programs going at one time, which was high, and frequency was one of those, and that they were putting out that low ELF, and it became such a problem. So many people were having problems with it. I go into people's houses, and they were claiming they were being followed by people and being watched and everything else. And they had actual people in the neighborhood that they would come in and they would actually tell people in the neighborhood, well, you need to keep an eye on this person. And they would watch that person. That's part of the way, but they would beam a low frequency into them. And some people were using trash can liners, and they would use tin foil behind where they would sit so that they wouldn't do it, because they do get sick, And it sounds weird, but I've actually seen it. It was amazing.
Sleep in Faraday cages?
Yes, exactly. Faraday, that's the whole deal. Just like the same thing a Faraday cage does.
Okay, so then my other question about that is, did they change the hertz of the music at some point?
Oh, yes, they
definitely did. From the more healing level to a more, level that makes people more controllable? Yeah,
the original frequency was 432. And, A sharps and E sharps and all those different kind of things, and they changed it to 430, and it becomes totally different. It's currently right now, and the way that everything is set up now, is 430. That's why if people, when you've got to really make sure, because people will say, you go to YouTube and you're listening to 432 healing frequency. Well, it's not actually 432. They didn't record it at 432. It's not at 432. So
can you get 432 anywhere, or can you convert the 430 to the 432?
No, you can't convert it. But you can use 432, and there's generators, the frequency generators that you can actually get that will give you that. But the bad thing about it, it's not and there are some sites that are actually pinged at 432 that are pure. But a generator, you have to remember that frequency is a hard sound to listen to all the time. You know, it's like a ringing in your ear. It's like, hey.
Well, when did they by convention, like as a guitarist, I've heard both ways about tuning A440 or tuning to, I tuned to A440. That seems to be convention. Yeah, right. But when did they do that? When did they actually decide to move it to A440?
I'm not too sure about that. I think it was sometime in the 60s, but it may have been earlier than that. Pythagoras is the one that came up with most of this stuff, which is ancient stuff. But, when you're sitting and you're looking at it, it makes a big difference, and it doesn't really sound that much different. Have you tuned A to 432 versus 440?
I've tried. Yeah, I've got a tuner that I can calibrate to whatever I want, and I didn't really, other than string tension, I didn't really see that much. I couldn't pick up any difference. It sounded about the same to me.
Mm-hmm. Bear in mind too, though, you have to be careful with frequency because some of the sound frequencies they actually use as weapons.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they think maybe Bigfoot can use infrasound. You don't really hear it, but you hear it, and it scares that
right.
People become extreme without even seeing Sasquatch,
and that
they feel that fear.
That could explain how some people, even with or without paranormal experiences, are scared in their homes, or they have that feeling of being watched, or that could be a part of infrasound.
I wonder if that's not what happened to us on Haystack that time. Remember we went up there?
It could be, because we know Bigfoot's on Haystack.
We weren't terrified or anything, but
we had the uneasy feeling we needed to leave.
Yeah, and there was that spot out in the woods.
I had that feeling one time, and it was a cougar stalking me.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
I found out later that, I left the woods and, went home, and then somebody later told me that there was a cougar in that area.
And,
so, that's just your spidey sense. Everybody got it.
Yeah.
Lions and tigers definitely use the infrasound. They don't.
Yes.
They use it to kind of stun their prey.
Yeah,
and that's why the theory is that maybe Bigfoot uses the same thing.
Right.
And that's a possibility.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like where we were last night.
It's all a guess.
Where I was at last night during this investigation, every investigator at the same time came back and said, "Do you hear that frequency, that sound, that pitch?" And we all, right after that, were going, "How's your stomach feel? How do you feel?" It was making us terribly nauseated and very sway. You felt like you couldn't hardly even hold on. But I think it was totally from that frequency.
Well, didn't you say on that investigation that they're possibly using some type of camouflage?
Yes,
and if you're smart enough to use camouflage like that, wouldn't you also know about the sound?
Yes, exactly. Makes total sense, Joe. It does. It makes a lot of sense. But that's what we do. That's what we're dealing with now, and it was so different. It's hard to.
But that was alien.
Yeah, it was definitely what I got out of it.
Right.
I was thinking.
How do you defend against that?
26.
Yeah, pointy sticks.
or pointy sticks with projectiles.
It's like going. One of the things that people don't understand is like going. They want us to come in with intervention to stop alien abductions or anything else. Through all the time that I've been involved in everything else, truthfully, I do not know of a way that you can actually stop that.
No, we haven't.
Is totally different, and
unless you know the frequency and you can counter it.
Yeah, but
they do with people who have ring tinnitus, and they find the wavelength that will cancel it out. If you can cancel out the infrasound frequency, that would be your protection. So I guess you'd have to have a frequency sweep and go from there.
That's why so many people use 432, because it's the natural hum of the earth and the natural thing, and it will block other frequencies. You can block it fights against those other frequencies. So it gives like a blocking or a protection zone from that frequency. But yeah, it's very scientific. It's something that we're all looking at, and I think it's important for us all to raise our frequencies, because our energies will all change and go from that point.
So because you feel that way, do you also think that maybe sound healing will be a
very
thing?
much so. Very much so. You know, and even if you go back to a lot of the musicians and everything else, and I know this may sound weird, Jimi Hendrix, before his death, was talking about being able to heal by vibration and everything else. And don't we use that kind of healing when you're doing Reiki or astral Reiki or anything like that? Mm-hmm. You are repairing anything that way. And yes, so certain tones and certain things have healing energy. And it could be
that bowl.
Yeah. You know,
Very that bowl.
There's
that sound. It's like makes a vibration sound or something that's supposed to heal people. You guys know what I'm talking about? That bowl thing.
Yeah, singing bowls.
Yeah,
singing bowl.
Different sizes create different noises.
Like this one here goes. You know, very good thing. So yeah, keep singing bowls around and everything else. So they're all very.
So there's this guy in Seattle called Tom Kenyon, and he's a psychotherapist, like a trained. He's been a psychotherapist for like 35 years, and he does sound healing.
Yeah.
He produced some of his stuff. If you go to his website, you can just search his name, Tom Kenyon, Seattle. A lot of his like sound stuff is free, and there's this one thing, and I think it's called Immunity. It's for like to listen when you're not feeling well, and it's a bunch of like shamans from all over the world, and he intertwined the recordings of these people doing their thing. Like some of them had didgeridoos, and some of them were chanting, and you know, some of them were like, and it's all like played all at once. It's almost like a cacophony, but it's a cacophony of healing.
Yeah, you know,
it's the most bizarre thing.
Music.
I mean,
music and tone has been used for healing, has been used for protection, has been used for many things for thousands of years, to where there's certain chants that are used within removing jinn. If you look at some of the Islamic, work, it doesn't have to be. I can't. I'm having a brain cramp tonight. But I can't remember what the Islam clergy's called for that specific purpose. But they do use
they're
different
shamans.
No. They're not shamans.
Imam.
Yeah, there you go. Imam. So there's kind of like what the Catholics do with their exorcists. You've got the Imam, which they have different chants and techniques they use for jinn removal. Because you can't have jinn possession, completely different than a demon. Just to be clear.
Totally different.
But again, you know, sound and tone and chant is the key to a whole lot of different things, from healing to protection to removal.
Yeah, that's why we always say frequency causes vibration, which in return causes energy. You know, the vibration of things, and you can heal with all that energy, with that kind of energy.
Well, there's something too.
Whatever the tone is.
Sound? Like,
I think so.
Something with
sound?
I think the Australian Bushmen do that all the Aborigines. I have a CD.
All that
I've got a CD that I cannot listen to in the car. It's all didgeridoo music.
Yeah, right.
That thing will it will trance me out.
Yes, exactly.
So explain manifest, because chant and
create.
Yeah, so
create, enliven, make something happen.
Getting back to Tony's question, thought forms. Think thought forms. Think of some of the cults that conjure demons. They are all done through words and chant. So you're getting right back to that. It's not just about candles and symbols. It's about the words you use. It's about the chants you use. So, yeah. and it can go right down to thought forms too. A thought form is generally, yes, thought projection, multiple people thinking of the same thing. Look at Slender Man. I always use Slender Man because Slender Man is a perfect example of a thought form.
Oh, it is. It is.
It started as a joke and then became...
Yeah, it started as a joke, but so many people got scared by that joke, it brought him to life. And then you can kill them.
Put their energy into it.
Absolutely.
Get scared.
Exactly.
Right back to 2000.
They created a
I think it was 2017 where you had the 3 little girls that stabbed their best friend because Slender Man told us to do it.
Wow.
Exactly.
Talking about that yesterday.
Topas are dangerous things too. I mean, a topa is we create topas. I mean,
yep.
It's like going into an area. The original poltergeist is from people who have emotional disturbances in their early ages, early starts of puberty, which allow them to do that. And if it's not taken care of, that energy can manifest itself into its own being. And
okay, so real quick,
off a negative energy.
So with that, we have a question from Michael. He says, wait. If that's possible, couldn't Jesus or God be willed into existence? What do you guys think?
That's weird because enough people believe, because you look, God, what we call God now, evolved from a multi-deist system.
Right.
Or here's another question: when you're worshiping, what are you giving your energy to?
Well, it depends on, and he says, or any religious deities. So,
right.
Belief gives strength.
Personally, working with Morrigan, who is my deity, yes, she has shown herself in many different ways. It depends on who you worship. And I use worship loosely. But it depends on who you believe in. Yes, your deity, if your mind is strong enough, will show themselves. Absolutely. Meditate on them, and they'll come to you in your sleep, come to you in your dreams. Yes. And that's oftentimes how they do show themselves. Is in your dreams. You'll dream a message.
And when you're talking about manifestation is agreeing. You actually turn yourself into agreeing that it's going to happen. And if you believe it in your heart, then it may manifest itself very easily. Mm-hmm. It's not a manifestation of, I want to win the lottery tonight. It's the good stuff that you want to be able to
no, it didn't work that way.
Manifest change. Right, exactly.
Here's the way I manifest. I think of something that I want to have, and then I go to a thrift store, and there it is.
That happened to me.
That happens a lot.
So manifest.
I can't do it with retail because the vibes are wrong.
That happened to me last week. I'd been looking for a pair of hiking sticks that Costco had. They were nowhere. That's one of those places where if you see it and want it, you better grab it because it's not going to be there next week. I checked, including the Costco where I eventually found them. They were sitting on top of some other totally unrelated stuff, and it was just like, there they were. I was meant to have them.
Just one set of them.
One set of them, and they weren't in the sporting goods. They were on top of some. Cheese. They weren't even in the outdoor section. It was another section.
Totally random.
Totally random. I mean, there's Cole came up with a logical explanation for it, but it's just funny that
it was there for you.
Yeah, they were there for me.
So let me explain something though, because you say you can't manifest lottery numbers, and that's absolutely true. But you have a bill that needs to get paid. I want to explain a real simple process that may or may not work. But you have a bill. Light a green candle, because green is symbolic of money. Get some mint oil, because mint is also symbolic of money. And do what's called dressing the candle. And that's just where you simply put the mint oil on the candle and put it on top of the bill. Now, obviously use a whole candle holder so you don't burn the bill. But envision that bill getting paid. And then burn the candle all the way down while you're envisioning that bill getting paid. That's
like
a manifestation.
Continuous prayer.
Yeah, it's a simple prayer. And you'll be surprised what happens.
Like
universal energy will handle it. Sometimes.
Like burning a votive candle in the Catholic faith.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's interesting.
That's a manifestation. And you'll be surprised for what happens, because all of a sudden you'll get extra money from, I don't know, a stimulus, something will happen that you'll have the extra money to pay that bill. I've had it happen many times over the years. So it's like,
is there a flow to that kind of thing? Like, are you either in the flow or you're not in the flow?
Nah.
How you practice it. If
you're, it depends on your practice. It depends on how true your intent is. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly. And so, Tony, you have to leave last hour, you said?
Yeah, I got cut out. Wife has work in the morning.
Okay. Not a problem. We're getting close to the top of the second hour. So we will bid you good night and sleep well, and you'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Good having you again tonight, Tony.
Night, Tony.
He's always a fun one to have on the show. We didn't get to talk about Astral too much tonight, though.
I know.
Hey, so we have about 3 minutes left. So go ahead and throw your astral question in. Tony?
I think he's gone.
Did Tony leave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he took off.
Oh. Damn it.
Tony has left the building.
That's all right.
Thank you very much.
He's actually coming back third week of September to talk astral. So we are actually having an astral show in September.
With that, why don't we go to our last break and we'll come back for an hour and 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen.
Stay tuned. You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
You're back.
And welcome back. Welcome back to S4. So we are on the third hour tonight. So real quick. Next Saturday we are actually starting the show at 10 p.m. Pacific time. It is going to be 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Preston Dennett, all things alien and UFO. From 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. we have Arnold Hampton, a former Washington State Park Ranger, to talk missing 401 missing people and paranormal issues in state and federal parks. From 4 to 7 a.m. we have UFO cults here with yours truly, UFO S4 team. From 7 to 10 a.m. paranormal mysteries of the Antarctic with the S4 team. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. we have paranormal in the military with various former soldiers. 1 to 4 we have dragons and fae, and we wrap it up from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Cryptids with Brian Bowden, and then we wrap it up with our last roundtable. Oh, I'm just a soup sandwich tonight.
Mark, when are you going to get back for that?
Huh?
Is that schedule going to be printed on the S4 website? So
it is going to be on the S4 website this week.
Cool.
Because and Barry is actually going to stay with us the entire 24 hours. So it's going to be the S4 team and Barry. Barry can keep us awake.
I'm going to try to do it. I don't know.
So, who wants to take some bets here? Like, what hour are we going to hear Barry snoring?
4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m.
I'm going to 4 a.m. We're going to hear... Barry, wake up. Barry.
Yeah.
No, wait, that's probably going to be me, but no. All right, Markham, what's your first question tonight?
What effect, if any, do you think living for several years in a haunted house has on the average person?
Oh, God.
Does it make you more sensitive? Does it make you less sensitive?
Can you repeat the question for me?
I said, what do you think the effects, if any, of living in a haunted house has on an individual?
So I think it depends on what's there.
The haunted, yeah.
I would love to answer that because literally I just wrote a book about it. So, everybody knows. My book actually just is coming out October 1st called The Haunting at 2095, which is my address that I lived at. We were always sick all the time. And my mother had scarlet fever every single year, which is pretty hard to get. I mean, extremely rare. She had scarlet fever and she had the flu. Her heart is literally bad now because of what we went through.
Yeah, scarlet fever can really ruin the heart.
Yeah, she has a lot of in COPD kind of stuff now that she's going through, now that she's older. She was just always sick. I mean, I had constant allergies or sinus infections. We hardly had any trees in our yard in the neighborhood at that because it was the 1970s neighborhood basically when it was built, and this was late 1980s. So there wasn't any reason for it. But I've known a lot of people who have, especially men, older men who get really affected by living in haunted houses, like major health concerns. I think that it's a really hard thing on your body, and if you don't get out, it might actually kill you. I am a firm believer in it can take you down. It can kill you.
So I like Michael and Izzy's answers. Michael says it depends on the individual and the spirits haunting them. And I'll get to that here in a second. Izzy says, I think it depends on the individual and the type of haunting. Key word right there, type of haunting. If you're the kind of person that's already open to the idea, then it's going to make you more aware. If you're the type that's rejecting it all, then it can actually create a type of block effect where you don't even notice things when they're obvious. And so I want to key in on those 2 points. because they're critical. You see people that live in haunted houses all the time. We've dealt with them. You know, our team dealt with them for 12 years on a daily basis with 5 to 10 cases a day. So yes, you have some people that can't handle it. They move to a hotel until our team can go in and clear it. We had that happen many times. We have a case in Burlington right now that we have to actually go check out. And I know, Cole, you haven't heard about it yet. They're not living in their house because of what's going on there.
Oh, we got to go.
Yeah. So, with that, you know, how many cases have we had where, you know, it's either the one of the couple is dealing with it and getting sick or you know, tired of it, whatnot, and the other partner, there's nothing there, and they're not getting sick. So that would be the block effect. The other person is so aware they're absorbing it, and they are getting sick. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I think in my case, there are so many other things that predisposed me to what I got as far as health concerns. You know, I think in my case it might have made me more open because I was accepting of it and I knew who the person was.
You were a skeptical scientist until the astral team came to your house and told you exactly what was there.
No, not necessarily, because when I had that incident happen in Rhode Island,
okay,
you know, I had other experiences, but that one was the one that knocked me off. You know, I was sitting on the fence until that happened, and when that happened, it was like very paradigm, shifting. Mm-hmm. At that point, it's like, oh crap, the stuff that, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that spirits exist.
Right.
I don't know what they are, but they exist. And my house that I just moved out of, more for just the financial, it was a drain that I really just didn't need to have because I wasn't living there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hate that I gave it up because, you know, it was fun having a haunted house for me.
Right.
I didn't have a problem with it as long as I left my cat alone and didn't screw with my guitars. You know, they were welcome to it. But that portal that opened up.
Well, portals are energy draining by themselves. I love the spirits that come through them. I want to bring in the third category because I'll go on these paranormal groups, and you all seen the memes of this really creepy looking house, and the question, would you go there? Hell yeah, I'd go there, because you know what? There's people like us that have dealt with this for years that would go in there, and we could live there. Because, one, we go in there with protection, we know what we're dealing with, we know how to deal with it, and we clear it, and it'd be just fine. Or, if it's good spirits, the friendly ones that make you coffee, I've had that happen, hey, stay here. We can have a party. So, there you go. But, yeah, it's the people that are dealing with the paranormal that know something is going on, are absorbing the negative energy that's in their home from either a malevolent entity or a pissed off spirit, one of the two. And like you, Rosella, you lived with it for years as a child, and you saw people getting sick. These are the ones, yes, living in a haunted house can make you sick if you let it. Or if you don't know how to deal with it. That's where the problem lies.
It was oppressive at times.
To it.
I think until the portal got shut down, it was kind of oppressive. And I think once the clearing happened, and they left the one spirit I said was okay to be there, the original owner of the home, he became more active. Because I kind of think that whatever was there was also harassing or had a negative impact on him.
But you see, once you recognized him and you gave him permission to stay, you had a working relationship, essentially.
Plus, there was a lot of Fae activity in that, because that lot had gotten kind of overgrown.
I don't think Fae and spirits necessarily get along too great. Because Fae are ancient, and spirits are relatively new, depending on when they died, obviously. So, yeah, you have a lot of conflict when it comes to fae and spirits.
Well, my mother actually did not understand that the house was haunted. She was the one who was massively getting sick all the time. We would all get sick, but she would get sick more. And she wasn't seeing and hearing, experiencing the things that I was. I think that that's like I am a medium because of maybe even living in the house, becoming more sensitive to it as you keep walking through it. You know, like, okay, now this is the presence that's in the room. Because you get experience with it, where she was always fighting it off. So I'm not sure. It's like, I mean, does it matter necessarily if you believe in ghosts? Will you still get, sick? Will you still get those experiences? I'm not sure.
Well, I just know if I tried to do anything with that lot, I had almost an acre, and it had grown wild because nobody, it was a wooded lot in the middle of town. The whole neighborhood had been pretty much old, established, and there was some fairly old trees and, well-established woods behind the house. And if I tried to do anything as far as, trim that back or modify it.
Could you walk through it, or was there a bunch
I could walk through it. I could walk through it, but it was, it was, overgrown, and if I tried to do anything as far as landscaping went, trying to get a little control over it,
like take a machete back there,
well, lopping shears or something, around the house, I would have things that I knew where I had left them. All of a sudden, I'd go to get them, and they were gone, and I'd find them in another place. One time, my phone actually went from beside me to a couch in another room. Just weird stuff like that. And if I said, fine, I like it wild anyway, so I'm just going to leave this alone. And the misplaced stuff came back. Might not have been where I put it, but it was back. That kind of thing. So I sort of made peace with the fae and the crows.
Oh, yeah, crow, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, they were awesome.
So I got to give a plug real quick because I can't wait to. So James Webb is going to be on the military and the paranormal part of the show next week. He's actually been run over by a ghost car. And I can't wait to talk to him about that. That's going to be an interesting discussion. Huh?
Yeah, and I've heard of those type of situations before, and there's definitely different things that are out there. I've got to interject on this because I come from a different background because I deal with spirits in different ways. Obviously, we go and help other people with it and everything else, and some of the things that you're saying, Eric, are true as can be, because there are people that create their own reality. And they think that, okay, well, the house is settling, and this is happening, and this is stuff, and it's not that, and I don't, and they just are skeptic, and they're naive to the idea.
Right.
But there's other ones that are taking all that, and they're the ones that are bearing the brunt of it, because they actually do see it, and they're affected by it. Mm-hmm. In my case, I work at a known haunted place. I've done it for 10 years, and I have seen the people who are working there all the time. And I will tell you that spirits use energy. When they use energy, they drain you. By the end of the day, you are drained when you leave a facility. And when you're drained like that, and they take that energy away from you, that allows you're susceptible to more things. Mm-hmm. There are certain times I can go into certain parts of the house, and there are entities there that will magnify your pain. So if I'm in an area, and everyone will go in the same area, so I've had hip replacements and I've got leg problems right now. I go down there, and if I'm in that room for 5 seconds, man, it's just like going, holy crap. They already know what is going to affect me. They don't want to be bothered, so they're going to give me that feeling so that I will leave, and normally I do. But I have seen from working 10 years at this facility people come in, they bring their own isham, they bring their own stuff. The spirits will stay. Everything else, we see a lot of different types of things and how the house will change and turn over because there's so many entities there and also so much blood and everything else. But it does take a toll on you physically. It takes, as you're there for that many years dealing with those kind of spirits, it does take, I leave every day. But let me tell you something, it will make you sick. They can definitely affect you. And the gentleman who originally started, he's going through it. I go through it. Anybody that's been there and stays there during the day and everything else, some days you walk in there, the house is as calm as can be. Next minute, it can turn on like a light switch, and you just want to say, wow, I got to get out of here. But it definitely does affect someone that's in that kind of situation. And that's, and that's just with me dealing in that type of setting, because a lot of people don't have that setting. They're not going to a famed haunted place all the time and hanging out there.
Right.
I help run this place, and it's like you were saying, Marcus, when you're talking about the areas out there. We have 300 acres. We take care of 10 acres of it. And sometimes when you run machinery out there, I can't tell you, modern machinery will go dead every time. I can't tell you how many weed eaters we go through. Currently, right now, we've got lawnmower problems. If you get lawnmowers will blow up, all kinds of stuff. Now, if I went out there with a sty, I guarantee you that I could cut away anything that I wanted to, because they're like going, hey, that's, I don't know what the hell that is, and I don't like it. It makes a bad noise. It makes this stuff and everything else, and I truly believe that they affect it. So it depends on what you're what the type of time it is. I know that sounds weird, but I do believe that they have that power to do that.
Well, not at all, because if you're looking at a spirit that maybe died in the 1900s, 1920s, they know what a psi is. Mm-hmm. But, right. And if they can manipulate, like, we know the paranormal manipulates electronics all the time. So, they're good. They're going to be able to kill the electric lawnmower or the brand new fandangled tractor. Or, they just they just drain the battery.
Right. Well, or do they cause some kind of mechanical problem with it? They'll blow the engine in it.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff they do.
Siphon your oil out. So, you're talking about they can magnify your physical pain, and they can magnify your mental pain as well. Having PTSD, mm-hmm. Yes, they can magnify your PTSD. There's some, they feed off it. They feed off pain. They feed off malevolent entities do anyway. Some negative spirits do as well. They can, so they will magnify your PTSD or your mental pain. They feed off it.
Yeah, but some of them, some of the nicest spirits in the world that are dealing and care about you, I don't know if they really realize that they're hurting you, because they require energy to be able to speak, talk, or anything. So as they're developing that energy, if they use your energy, it does drain you, which makes you susceptible to more sickness and illness.
And if you're a depressive personality like I am, it just makes it worse. I've noticed I've gotten a lot less agoraphobic and a lot less depressed since I left.
Yeah, but it's not their intent. I don't think, I think some of the spirits are just wanting to communicate, wanting to know that you're there and everything else, and they will use whatever energy that you have. That's why we go in there, your cell phones die in 2 seconds, stick your camera in there, they die quickly, because they're sucking up all that battery energy. And if they don't use that energy, they're going to use your energy, because we're just sitting there existing,
They can also kill a recorder, right, Barry?
Yes, right, exactly.
After I left that house, my recorder doesn't work anymore. It's brand new, man.
It's funny because of the fact, and when we were on break and we talked about that, or before the show we were talking about it, and Eric mentioned something very important, is that yes, they can do that because there may be evidence on there that they don't want. And we've seen that at, even on cameras. It's so strange to look at a closed-circuit TV or a security camera that continually loops, and it will have a 500 megabyte or a terabyte, and it releases the old stuff first and makes room, and so you records over it. It never records over the other stuff. But when you have something happen, and all of a sudden you replay it, you may see it one time. The second time you replay it, you'll see that it skips like 3 minutes or 9 minutes. Whatever the event is, it's not there anymore. And it's impossible for the device to do it. So they are using the energy to take that away from you. And other times, I heard one of the coolest EVPs I ever had was I was walking up the stairs. I said, "Hi, it's Bear." And it says, "Here, you may keep this." It was like her saying that, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to say hi to you, and yes, you can keep it."
I think some of the best evidence is found on security cameras because they don't, So game cams are different because game cams have a frequency. They have a red light sometimes, whatnot. So you're not going to get Bigfoot necessarily.
But I think
I don't know if security cameras emit the same frequency or if it's just not detected by a spirit, because you will find more evidence of strange activity on a security cam than you will a game cam or a team that's actually looking for it.
The problem is it's really hard to take a security camera anywhere.
No. Right. I'm talking the clients that actually give you their security camera footage because, they aren't looking for it necessarily. It's sitting on their porch or whatnot.
I had a security guard I worked with at my last permanent when I was in Clemens. And she had one of those security systems that would tell her, show up on the phone.
Right.
And,
a
word got out.
One.
Yeah, so she sought me out and said, "What do you think of this?" And she showed, and you could see, she didn't have to point it out.
You could see an apparition?
You could see the apparition moving across the field of view of that camera.
Yeah.
It was startling.
But if you were a team walking down that same hall with your cameras going, would you necessarily catch it?
No,
probably not, because you're not going to see it.
Well, the thing is, the security camera is on 24/7,
right?
Unless the people are in the house.
And now they're becoming so well known because, like before, it was a huge system that you had to set up. You had to put the cameras in different places. Now it's just a doorbell.
Yeah.
The those things catch all kinds of weird crap.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. The aliens.
Well, we have security cameras in the hall. All right, and it's really funny because whenever something happens in the hall, it will always be somewhere not in a security camera view, unless they want to give it to you.
Right.
And it's funny because when you're dealing with an 1800 spirit, and all of a sudden it goes, "Oh, look, a camera." These things are intelligent. They learn. Yeah. So they didn't know what cameras were. But that's the thing. They are intelligent. They do pick up on things. They do learn. They are that way, and they'll stay away from the things.
They say
do things outside of the camera where the view is not good.
Right.
They say the surest way to run Bigfoot off your property is put up game cameras. There's something about the frequency they use.
Yeah, we caught Faye. Yeah, we caught Faye up on Cumberland in our game camp.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was I going to say? Oh, I'm trying to. Oh, did you get any pictures of the reptilians by chance?
Why'd you point at me?
Pictures of reptilians. I have seen a few. I personally have never caught one.
No, the ones that you saw on the rooftop.
The glimmers.
No. We had cameras going and everything else, and I haven't reviewed the whole footage because I had another camera that was sitting up top the hill. And one of the funny things about it was, is that this says how weird this case was. I went back out to the truck and I actually got on top of the truck and up on the hill there so that we could actually see the roof a lot better. And when we got out to the truck and we were looking around the truck, there was actually a misty dew had come over and was covering the truck, and there was handprints, like, where you take your palm of your hand and you kind of make it like a fist. If you put it on the truck, it would look like a footprint. And we had finger wipes, we had different things on the truck. And then I looked up and I noticed that the camera that I had sitting on a tripod was actually moved during it, so that it wouldn't film in that direction.
And that's when you should have swabbed it.
Well, the only bad thing about it was all the water and everything about it. I mean, it was there to the point where you're not going to get a good piece of evidence at all, because it's just like as soon as you rub it, it's there. When I was going to, I didn't have an opportunity today, but the opposite thing to do is this morning when it dried is to go out and just take a look at it with a black light to see if there was some kind of residue that would pick up on the black light. But I didn't have an opportunity to do that today.
Well, I want to know if you catch any glimmers on any of your cameras.
Oh, I will definitely let you know.
What format were your cameras? Were they infrared? Were they full spectrum? Or were they just standard visible light cameras?
I had a full spectrum running, and I also had a night vision IR running.
How about a FLIR? Forward-looking infrared?
It didn't have a FLIR running. We did not have a FLIR running.
Oh, we need FLIR.
Yeah. That would have helped out. That would have helped out in that case. That would have been something to have, because we'd have been able to see the heat image.
Absolutely.
Or the cold spot.
Right.
Right.
So I want to jump. I want to jump over to Joe for the second question, and I'm going to go ahead and throw one of my questions in, because it kind of goes with this a little bit. So, Joe, what's your second question tonight?
Okay, I was just wondering if any of you, and I know one of you has, have you ever seen a full-body apparition? And if so, could you tell us about it? Now, for me, it happened just a couple weeks ago. I was in my living room watching TV, and I saw, it was almost like an old black and white movie, but smoky. But all I saw was a shoulder and then the arm going down to the elbow of a person walking across the room. That's the closest I've ever gotten, but, I mean, it was clear as day. The lights were on. I could see it really good. And I was with Markham one time when he saw one, and I'd love to hear that story again. I think some people haven't heard that.
Okay, we were at the Holbrook Hotel. Yeah, the Holbrook Hotel in Grass Valley. The bathrooms were downstairs below the lobby, and they had sort of like a lounge, a couple chairs, overstuffed chairs, comfortable love seat and chair. I came down the stairs to go to the restroom, and there was a man sitting there. I came around the corner. I caught him in the corner of my eye, and by the time I looked full at him, he had disappeared. But I actually got a look of this guy sitting in a chair, and he vanished. That was a weird. Everything about that trip was weird. But I used to live in New Bern, North Carolina, and this was the way my living room was set up. I could look down when I was watching TV. I'd also be able to look down the hall, and I constantly used to see this person looking out of the laundry room. Like head, top of the shoulders, like peeking around the corner. Now, the first time I saw it, I went back there thinking it was one of the neighbor kids or something. Door was locked, and this laundry room was just big enough for the washer dryer, and it was very small, just like a large closet, really. door was locked. There was nowhere to hide. And I mean, I even looked inside the washer and dryer because, it's like, what's going on here? But I saw that apparition on more than one occasion.
Right.
And I think I know who it was because there was a person I knew up in the mountains that kind of died tragically, and I think it was that person following me around.
And that's possible.
Because it kind of looked the resemblance. These things don't pose and stand there. It's
not generally.
I would see it looking around the corner because I was looking at the TV, and simultaneously, you also in your field of view is the end of the hallway, and several times I caught this entity peeking around the corner at me.
So apparitions, we have a potential apparition picture we actually took at Northern State Mental Hospital, but it's skeptical because it could have been light coming through the barn windows. But it was one of the barns. You look at it, it does look like it could be an apparition, but my skeptical side says, it could also be the light coming through the windows.
Just one of the patients they forgot to take when they closed.
Right.
But in person, have you ever seen anything?
So in Germany, yes, we had in 1800s, 1900s. So she reminded you of a librarian, and she would walk down our hallway probably once a month. So I'd say maybe on the anniversary she died, or on a specific day of the month that she was actually walking and reading, because it was like she was reading a book. She would stop in the doorway, she'd look in the living room at you, and then she'd walk on and disappear.
They take that crap seriously in Germany too.
Oh yeah, I was actually in Michael's live feed last night, chatting with him in the chat room. About apparitions, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about culture differences, and I've said this before, but I think America is one of the more closed-minded when it comes to the paranormal, because in Germany, when I had a knife fly across the kitchen and went to the housing authority and said, "Look, we got to move on base," and the German woman that ran housing said, "Why?" And we told her, a knife flew across the kitchen and it was a spirit. And she said, "Oh my God, do you have a Geist?" "Oh hell no. No, you don't go back to the apartment. Do you have a place to stay tonight?" And we said, "Yeah, we're staying with a friend." And she said, "Good. You don't go back. You'll have, it'll take me a week to actually get you moved on to base, but you don't go back to the apartment. You need any other help? Because your friend can't take you or keep you there, then we move you into a hotel, but you do not go back to your house." Now, you take that same scenario, you go to Fort Lewis housing, for example, here, and you walk in and tell them you got a spirit in your house that's attacking you, they would laugh you right the hell out of the housing and say, "Suck it up, Buttercup. We don't believe in ghosts."
Do you think that is because the original Europeans that came here, the Puritans, do you think that mindset polluted the paradigm from the beginning? Because, we're basically misplaced Europeans here.
Right, but you're talking...
Why is the attitude so different?
But I do think the paranormal in general...
It is like,
go ahead.
You people that are living in Germany or England or Italy or any of the places over there, those people have lived there for thousands of years.
Right.
In the same
And a
spot.
lot of them, they are born and they die within 10 miles of the same place.
Absolutely.
They're used to it. They've seen it. They're used to it. United States, it's people from all over the world. Everybody moves. Everybody moves around. It just doesn't have the same culture.
Right.
Well, yeah, in my own case.
People over there are more accepting because they've been in these places for thousands of years.
I mean, I've been all over the country. born in Indiana, raised in Michigan, lived in Virginia, lived in North Carolina, lived in Tennessee. Now I'm living in Washington.
There you go.
And, it's just like, I don't think we sit, as a culture, we don't really sit down. We're migratory. We don't seem to set down roots.
So I think since paranormal TV, and I consider it entertainment, I think it's fake.
Yeah.
But I think with the generation of paranormal TV, it's opened a lot more people's minds. Prior to that, and I use the example too. We started the Concrete Upriver group in 2014. I brought up paranormal in the group back then. I'm considered still the UFO guy here, or the paranormal guy, or in a derogatory sense. But in the last year or two, I bring up paranormal, or I push S4 into the group, and you get a lot more positive feedback. More people coming out talking about their Bigfoot story or their UFO story, or oh my God, I've got a spear, I need help. You get a lot more of that today in the last 2 years.
People are opening up.
Right.
We've had TV, like haunted TV shows for 20 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, In Search of, and
it started
Unsolved Mysteries, and what was it? Yeah.
It did, but you still, and I think too, when it comes to the ufology side, because back in 2017, you had the New York Times article come out, you had TTSA come out, which TTSA is crap, but it still opened people's minds. You have the government, the Pentagon came out and said, oh yeah, we've got something from off-world. You've got more and more government recognition, which I don't see that as important, personally, but,
they're kind of preaching to the choir, because we already believe it.
Right, but the general population is going, wow, seriously? We've got aliens? Well, yeah, what do you think? I mean, it gets irritating. But
but the general population, as far as the alien thing goes, the government came out and said, look, here's pictures from planes of UFOs. We don't know what they are. They're unidentified, probably off-world.
Right.
And pretty much the entire society went, yeah, we already knew that. So what? And they moved on to COVID and whatever else we're dealing with. The big panic didn't happen.
No.
No, the Brookings...
UFOs, so what?
The Brookings Institute study has been invalidated. We didn't lose our collective crap.
But even you can have someone who is part of the general public say, hey, I believe in ghosts. Mm-hmm. But then you actually give them a story that actually happened to you, and they're like, oh, you're full of crap.
But you know what? And that's funny, too. The other side of that are the ones that go, hey, Bob, hey, Joe, look, ghost hunters, isn't that cool? Let's go out and buy their equipment and start our own team. And so they do. And that's great.
I'm not going to start ghost hunting until I go to the Zach Bagans University and get my degree.
No, but Joe,
God.
Here's the
Joe is hereby banned forever.
But here's the problem with that. The same group of people who thought the show looked cool, and they went out and bought the EMF meter, and they bought the SP7, and they bought all the exact same equipment that Zach Bagans has, and they go to their first case.
Nothing happened.
Oh, no. Here comes the spirit and goes, boo. And they go, oh, my God, they're real. And they run out of the house.
Well, even Zach Bagans
Why did you do
that.
it? It's so frustrating. You know how many cases we actually had to go in and clean up because the client had 3 other teams that came in, got the shit scared out of them. And so that makes it worse because
they just go in and stir shit up and then
go in
clean up.
And they piss off what's there, and they make the client even more terrified because they proved it. And now the client's going, I just had a paranormal team come in. Now what do I do?
Get a real paranormal team that knows what they're doing to come in.
I can't tell you how many cases we had where I actually answered the phone, because these were phone calls, not even on Facebook. But I would answer the phone, and these people are terrified and in tears, literally crying, going, am I crazy? Like, no. So that's the first question I always get asked. Am I crazy? No, not at all.
Always.
Or, yes, but that doesn't mean you're not haunted.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
And then they ask, can you help me? And absolutely. But these are the people that had 3 different teams that watched Zach Baggins or some other, Name Your Poison, Name Your Show, Dead Files, whatever the show is. And they thought, that looks so cool. And then they realized, this shit's real. Really?
I still want to hear from everybody about their if they've got a full body apparition, especially the girls. You haven't said anything.
Actually, mine's in my book, but I actually had the woman. So my book is literally like 20 years of research and stuff too. What happened after I moved out of the house, finding out who was in the house. So I didn't discover until I was an adult. But the person who was in the house committed suicide 23 days after moving out of the home because they did not want to move there. I mean, they didn't want to leave. So I saw this woman as a child. My brother was actually on the back couch and he was 2 years old. He started screaming and crying. And I was a few feet away from him, sitting on the floor. Like back then, just like watch TV and sit on the floor, that kind of thing. And I stood up. And then through this little kind of like window kind of thing that we had, like it was a fireplace, and then we had this little kind of cutout window that you could see through to the other room, to the kitchen. And this woman was standing there, and she was actually making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I believe, for us. So this was pretty crazy, but I had left out the ingredients, so the bread, the jelly, and everything, the knife. I had left it out because I had just gotten home with my brother after school. I picked him up from the neighborhood babysitter, got all the ingredients out, and he kind of started fussing. He wanted me to turn on TV, and I forgot about it. I left it all on the counter. So she literally was making it. And yes, she did spread the jelly and the peanut butter on the actual physical bread.
Wow.
And left it there. So like the lights started flickering on and off, and the garbage disposal went crazy at the same time that I was seeing her. And I can still see her to this day. Short, curly, perm brown hair. And she was about 5 foot, maybe 5'2" at the most. And crimson red lipstick, blue eyeshadow and eyeliner. And when I talked to my neighbors about it, like later, which was way later, they confirmed to me who it was. And they were flabbergasted. Like they turned white when I told them this story. I, as a child, thought this was a burglar. I thought this is someone in my house. She looked like just a person who was standing in front of me. But yet, like when I went around the corner, and the lights in the garbage disposal are still flashing, and then behind her was a refrigerator, was now open before it was closed. It was wide open. The light was on. She was gone. So I was looking all around the house for probably over an hour, looking for this person, and I'm like, who is this in our house, this stranger? And told my mom that we had a burglar. And then of course she's just like, oh, this is nonsense, like stop talking about this never happened. But my brother he reacted screaming until she left. And when she finally left and she was gone, like disappeared, then he stopped screaming. So it's very interesting, but I only saw her that one time. And then I also had another apparition. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but knocked me out. It looked like it appeared like this foggy mist thing kind of appeared over my bed, and then had something in its hand, and it threw it at me. I never knew what it was or where it came from. Still to this day don't know what it was, but it knocked me out. So that's what my experiences have been. And I've also seen a shadow person, like full form in front of me, appear in my other house later on in life. Another house we moved into down the road, actually, from this house. So I've seen a lot.
I love that story.
All right, so I'm going to cut in and ask one last question because we're down to like the last 10, 12 minutes of the show, and I want to get this in real quick. But I want to hear from you guys the difference in gear between a cryptid investigator, a UFO investigator, or a spirit investigator. So we know in the spirit world, we use SP7s, we use night vision, we use EMF meters, we use digital thermometers. In the Bigfoot UFO, you might use a FLIR, night vision. Do we have some other ideas?
Well, I think the FLIR is in both categories.
Real basic. You have to go real basic. You just use your eyes and your ears. Forget the electronics.
Well, to a point.
I don't have any of that electronics, man. I witness things. I can hear things. You see things. That's all it takes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think if you are going to use technology, though, there's okay, I had a FLIR C2 camera. Great for doing in-house or, limited range investigation. But not worth a damn if you're doing cryptology, cryptological stuff. Right. And you don't have range.
You talk about the one we used on Haystack?
Yeah, that little
C2. So with that one, we actually
limited range.
Right, and that one we caught a hot spot on a plant in a bush. Now, could it have been Faye? Could it have been a bird? We don't know. We turned the flashlights on. We couldn't see anything. But we turned them off and went back to night vision and FLIR. It was still there. Could it have just been plant energy? Who knows? So what we have now, what Markham just got, is a much longer range.
Right. I got and that was primarily, I think we're going to get another C2 camera for the in-house stuff, but
right.
I bought the FLIR TK Scout because it's 100-yard range. And I think if we're up on Haystack, it's a matter of... Okay, I guess what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, it's matching the technology to the circumstances.
Right.
A C2 is great indoors, it's not good outdoors. The Scout is better outdoors, but not really particularly good indoors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of matching to the circumstance.
But that's the thing. You're only matching to one circumstance. I would say use both in both instances if you have them.
Well, I guess you could use the C2 as a negative control because it doesn't have the range to reach out like the infrared the Scout can.
Half the time, I don't believe you actually need the range because if Bigfoot's there, he's probably not 100 yards away. He's probably beside you and you don't know it.
Right. I don't know that.
And that's a possibility too.
We both kind of agreed that the range was the limited range is what was keeping us from resolving that one.
Well, because there's this for listeners that don't know what we're talking about. Haystack is a mountain behind the house, behind the headquarters, and so we have a valley. And I'm cutting short on time, so I'll make this quick. But we have a valley shortly up one of the first roads. That is very, I guess, mysterious is the best word, because our daughter and I both heard a metallic whirring noise, which can't be explained other than it sounded to me alien, because there was no helicopters around, there was no humans around, and there's nothing else that sounds metallic in the middle of the woods. So the further investigation definitely needs to be done in that valley. But when you're talking ufology, I would have to say you also need a Geiger counter.
Yeah,
because when you're talking landing trace, you want a Geiger counter to pick up if there's an energy or a radiation, not EMF radiation, but actual radiation from a potential UFO landing. And you're absolutely right, Michael. Telescope, binoculars, things of that nature are definitely required for ufology. Important.
Well, just a standard
laser finders, right?
Oh, I just got the laser dot matrix projector.
Cool.
And things like non-contact thermometers,
ionization detectors. You can use all of them things. There's different things like a natural cryometer, very important. Gaussimeter,
And the thing is,
it's interchangeable.
I do, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of these you can cross over into all three fields.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's always good if you've got an app on your phone that's got like Stellarium or something, because you want to be able to find out if it's what's in the sky at the time you're looking at it. Is it a star? Is it something like that could be that way?
Yeah, I have Sky Safari.
With UFOlogy, you don't necessarily need any equipment. I was standing in my driveway. Something came over the house, and I actually looked straight up, and I had to turn my head from side to side to see both sides of it. So at that point, binoculars are kind of out of the question.
Right. Well, the best thing you can have, I mean, if you're really doing this stuff, is one, take a tripod with you. Right. Put a camera on a tripod, because it will study the thing instead of holding it in your hand and trying to shoot it with your phone or whatever.
Oh, I had a camera and it wouldn't work.
Yeah, well, a lot of times it don't work. I mean, it won't work. And
until it got out of sight, then it worked just fine after that.
Yeah, we have that problem with a lot of equipment. You have, night vision goggles, very important.
And the fact that it's not working with brand new batteries is evidence in and of itself.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. It is an evidence. It is evidence. There's so much different things that you have. And then also, you've got to carry a to-go bag. And what we do is we have different to-go bags. So, I mean, when you're going on a ghost hunt, there's certain things that you want to have. And then there's certain things that you want to have in your to-go bag when you're also doing a UFO hunt, because you've got to have
first aid kit,
kinds of different strings, tent stakes, that kind of stuff, because depending on the evidence you may find and everything else, you got to have tweezers to pick it up.
But see, I want to clarify too. So yes, we have an evidence collection kit with swabs, with droppers.
You got that one I assembled for you.
With droppers, with slides, with we have just a specific evidence collection kit. But I want to clarify too. You're thinking paranormal, but you need to have. You say go bag. The first thing I think of with a go bag is my survival kit.
Yep. Yeah. You got a first aid kit, all that stuff.
You have to have a medical kit.
Right. You're out there in this time of stuff, and it's different. It's the same thing with Bigfoot. Anytime, and same thing with UFOs. If you're gonna take pictures, make sure you have an L photo thing. You can get them at evidence stores where you get measurements, so you can actually see. The worst thing about a picture is not being able to know the size relationship.
Or the type of the camera.
Yeah, right.
You got to have some kind of little scale, something to give size reference.
Right. So, I
got to carry dental cast. You got to carry, plaster or dental cast to be able to make
for Bigfoot tracks.
Coffee.
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 You can't forget the coffee and the cigarettes either.
Cigarettes.
So I gotta cut in real quick. I want to throw in one thing, because I always laugh every time we see these mountain hunters and these Bigfoot shows, and they're wearing khaki shorts and got their bottle of water, and they're running around the woods going, "Yeah, look!" And they get all these people excited, and they want to go out and look for Bigfoot. They forget this guy's got a paramedic. He's got a production company. So they go out there and they get lost, and they don't think about a survival kit and a medical kit and everything else they need. And they're the ones that we have to go out and look for with search and rescue, because they're dumbasses that go out looking for Bigfoot because they saw him do it on TV. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we gotta wrap up. This is I don't know. I don't think I've had a round table go this fast in a long time. But real quick, Rosilla, where can we find your book and your blog?
Okay, so my book comes out on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million, October 1st, 2020, then this year. And so you can look for it there. Also, my Facebook page, I'm under Rosella C. Rowe, R-O-W-E. And I also have a blog as well. That is My Haunted Travel Blog. And that is myhauntedtravelblog.blogspot.com. I also have then the podcast that is A Haunting Good Time, and that is on Anchor. So you can look it up under A Haunting Good Time, and Rosella C. Rowell as well. I think it comes up under that as well. I'm on Spotify and a lot of other ones. I think I'm on 22 of them or something. But I'm also on Twitter under both names, A Haunting Good Time and Rosella C. Rowell. So look me up, and I would love to hear from you guys. And even tell me your stories. That'd be great.
All right.
You can also find more information on her from the S4 Radio website.
Yep, www.s-4radio.com.
Under guests.
Under guests, absolutely. Yeah. And Barry, where can we find Into the Fire?
On Blog Talk Radio, but soon to be changing to your wonderful place.
Spreaker. Excellent. Wise,
fantastic.
Wise choice, because you can't go wrong with Spreaker. S4 used Blog Talk for about the first month or two, and I wasn't happy with it. We switched over to Spreaker, and been there for the last 4 years. So, folks, go ahead.
Hey, Joe, I sent you some pictures. Check your Facebook message, and also remember when you talk about full body apparitions, there are two different types. There's the residual full body apparition, and there's also the intelligent full body apparition.
The ones that'll interact with you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget, we are having our Paranormal Radio Art Contest, so get your entries into s4radiowinner@gmail.com for any 2D artwork that you may be working on. Between August 1st and September 30th, we'll be accepting your entries. The winner then will receive S4 swag bag. Your S4 radio host will be picking the winner at the end of September. And then we will feature all of the artwork on Facebook, Twitter, and our webpage during the month of October. So get those in to s4radiowinner@gmail.com.
All right. And don't forget, next week, you can cover the normal showtime if you want, but you'll be catching the end of our 24-hour marathon. Our 24-hour marathon actually starts next Saturday night at 10 p.m. Pacific time. So catch us at our best at 10 o'clock Saturday night. You'll catch us at our worst after a 24-hour show.
I'll be fresh.
I have been training. We will be fine.
You've been training, blah, blah, blah. And you can hear Barry snore about 2 a.m. probably. That's
right, yeah.
That was Izzy's vote.
That was Izzy's vote, yeah. I think Barry's got it in him to go a full 24 hours. We will see. We'll call it the 24-hour challenge. The kids will love it. Anyway, thank you everyone for being on the show tonight. It was a great roundtable as usual. It looks to me like we also need to have a show sometime September, October on paranormal equipment and scientific evidence collection, just based on the answers to our discussion here tonight. So, stay safe this week. We'll see you next Saturday night at 10 p.m. And remember, keep your eyes to the skies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on S4, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. You can contact S4 through our website at www.s-4radio.com or on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like on our page and join the Forest Moon Paranormal group. If you are interested in advertising, take a look at our packages and contact Cole or Eric at 1-360-999-2830. Again, thank you. And remember, keep your eyes to the sky.